Hey, y'all, and welcome back to another episode of Catch That. I am Naturally Elise, and that is my brother.
JR.
And we are the R&B representatives. And today, baby, we are welcoming back for the third time
Mhm.
Pete, our very, very good brother, somebody that we respect so hard that we were so excited when he was here the first time because we
Yes.
was like, yo, this This brother right here, he knows a lot, he has done a lot, and we love him a lot. And that is the very good brother, Craig Seymour. Hey.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. Y'all know how much I love y'all so much. Y'all are
Mm.
like family, and like this is it just means you got me all. I'm like teary eyed. We're not even talking about Mary yet. Come on, what's the question?
Oh God.
Mhm.
Oh Lord. Ooh. Okay, then get it
Yeah.
together. Okay, go ahead. Mm.
So before we jump into this, I want JR to tell folks a little bit about who Craig Seymour is. And if
Me?
Craig can fill in any gaps that we leave out that he wants to be known to the public.
God, Craig is like everything for real. Like he just really is. Like he's a great writer. He done wrote books, y'all. He is just the best. When it comes to music, look, I look on his timeline for real, because I act like I know something. I be looking on Craig's like I don't know nothing. He done interviewed everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like he has done the best autobiography in my opinion. The Luther autobiography, I think, was amazing that he did for real. And just Craig is just the best. And he came on the show and he did the first one he did was Busybody, where he gathered me a little bit. Yes, he did. And and he came on and did LaBelle's Nightbirds, which was an amazing episode. So for him to come back and it's just so dope. And like I said, I'm really teary. I don't know why. I'm just happy to see Craig again, to be honest with you. But that's what I know. So I'll let Craig say a little bit of who he is and all that good stuff. So go ahead, Craig. I'm sorry.
I don't got nothing to add to all that now. The only thing I add to that is thank you very much. Thank you both for having me. Thank you for what you're doing for R&B and what you like are just continuing to tell the stories and to keep the music alive, keep the passion of the music alive. I just think that's so important and vital. And I appreciate you both as friends. I appreciate you both for what you do to the music. I don't even know what y'all doing in this podcast game because I don't know nothing about the podcast game. But I know when I see people mention who's the top at the podcast game when it's about R&B, I always see y'all, and I know where you started, and I see where you are now, and I just think that that's incredible.
Oh, stop it.
Like y'all gonna have to blow my nose.
Right. Like, oh my God.
We ain't even to the.
You're not
Yeah.
right.
See, I'm the thug of the show, so I was like, yeah.
You're like, all right, hey, receive it. Because if it's true, you don't have. I
Looking
mean, if it's true, it's
flawless.
true.
Looking flawless as usual.
Yes. So, JR, again,
Yes. Yes.
how about you tell our wonderful cousins what we're going to be talking about today? And please don't burst a blood vessel. Talk about why you think it's important that we're going to be talking about this album.
Okay, everybody. So today we will be discussing Mary J. Blige's Share My Word album. I even got the shirt too. Like, I listen, I was so excited when Craig said he wanted to talk about this album, to be honest, because this is really a crucial album for Mary. And we wouldn't have the Mary that we have now if it wasn't for this album. So for real, we're gonna get into all the songs. We're gonna talk about maybe our dislikes and our likes and all that good stuff. Y'all know we're honest on this show, so be prepared for real, for real. Like we showing no favoritism. Yes, I love her. I love Mary, but there's some things that I don't like either. So listen, it just is what it is. And I just, we're honest here. But I'm gonna start it off with y'all. I'm gonna start it with her coming off the My Life project, right? So she came off that project. It did what it did. It made a big impact. It was like, wow, okay, this girl has range, right? And it was like, oh, okay, because she was just the girl singing off the loops, and that's what they thought she was, and she got feeling, and it was like, oh, okay. Then she comes out with the My Life album, and this album has depth. It's thick. It's thick. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, this girl has some range. You know what I'm saying? So then now she comes with that album, it has a big impact, and then she leaves Puff, Sean, and as her manager, as executive producer, amen, somebody, glory to God. And okay, and she leaves, and then she does the Not Gonna Cry with Babyface off Waiting to Exhale. So
Hold on.
after that comes out.
I dropped my eye. Let me pick it up, put it back in my head.
So now she has Steve Stout. He comes into the picture and all of that. How did each of y'all feel after she left? Were y'all one of the ones that said, I don't know if she can do it without Puff? Were y'all one of the ones? How did y'all feel about that after her coming off of that? So I'll let you go, Craig. So what'd you think?
Oh, wow. To go back to that time, I mean, I think that it was just such a confusing time of just wondering what she was going to do because the noise coming from Bad Boy was just so loud and the face and then the um people don't realize this was like during the height of like Big's album coming out and like everything was so much about Sean Combs and what he could do. And then the other thing that people don't kind of remember back in the time is like My Life sold a lot of albums, but it really only had one big, well, Happy was a big single, but you know, really I'm Going Down was the one that went
Yes.
was all on MTV and everything like that. So like it didn't really have the single success that you would expect of a normal platinum album of that time. So it was kind of like, and then it just kind of dropped off of nowhere. You know, I think what was the last single? You Bring Me Joy or something, which really didn't perform that well.
Yeah.
So it was kind of this whole weird thing about like, what is she gonna do? Is she gonna be commercial? Does she need Puffy? I'm from DC, so we knew Chucky was behind the tracks on My Life anyway. So it's
Okay.
like, so musically, it wasn't a thing about the Puffy, but it was that kind of thing about was she going to be able to stand out in this landscape that was all about this one man after she had estranged herself from this person? It was more like that. And it was just more like really just worrisome about like what, because at that point, I mean, I was invested from day one. I was invested from You Remind Me, but it was just like a kind of a worrisome thing. Like, what is she going to do? And is it going to be able to make an impact enough for her to establish a career? Because My Life could have just been a great album like Miseducation of Lauryn Hill or something like that. It wasn't necessarily, didn't necessarily have the pieces to establish a career within the industry. And so my hope for Share My World, which I think it ultimately, you know, did this, was that it was going to establish her as a force to be able to have a career within the industry.
Yeah. I'll say when I knew that she was, you know, not going to be with Bad Boy or you know with Sean, and this is of course speaking as a fan. I was you know young, whatever, and I wasn't in the industry or anything.
Right.
I wasn't worried. I actually was kind of happy because I felt it was like, and because she's moving on, it's not going to pigeonhole her to this style.
Yes.
And it's going to open up to do more because My Life showed me, Real Loves would show me she had style. It was a fun album. But My Life is like, oh no, there's layers to this woman. And I think if she would have stayed within that Bad Boy contingency, we wouldn't have gotten the depth that we did get somewhat with Share My World and that we really got with the Mary album. So as a fan, I was happy. But if I was thinking about numbers and you know pop success, I might have been worried. But that was the furthest thing from my mind in that year. So as a fan, I was happy.
For me, it was as a fan, it was like I wasn't kind of worried, to be honest, because I agree with you, at least. It was like me and my mom was like, this girl has layers. She's just not what y'all pigeonholing her to be. She has layers, and she proved it on the My Life project. So when them two split, and I was like, Babyface did not go cry. I said, okay, now she got other producers that can look at her now and be like, we want to work with her. We can work with her now. Because, like you said, with the bad boy, she would have been just Hitman, Chucky, and that's it. He wouldn't have let her go to anybody else. So when Babyface came in and Not Gonna Cry blew the way it did, it was like, and then it was her biggest song, like her biggest single at the time. So it was like, oh, okay, now you got other contemporaries looking at her now, like, oh, we can work with that. Okay, we can do that. So when I saw that and I was like, Not Gonna Cry came out, I said, thank you, Babyface. Thank you. Because at first, Andre Harrell did not even want her to do it. He was like, no, I don't think it would fit. And Babyface is like, are you crazy? Like, this will be the song for her. Like, it will give her more of a mainstream appeal because, like you said, Craig, the My Life album sold, but it didn't have any big songs like A Real Love. I'm Going Down was the biggest record, and that was a remake. So it's like the album didn't have any singles for her. And Be Happy was cool, but that was for us. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't a crossover thing. So that whole album was not, it wasn't for them. It was for us, but it sold. But that Not Gonna Cry was let her look like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, let's do this. So I was
Well,
actually
yeah,
happy with it.
And you know what,
and
JR? You,
Yes.
by the way, you spitting right now. But as much as anybody that watched this show for a few episodes, as much as I despise Not Gonna Cry, I do not enjoy that song. Anything, I don't like the, and I said
Craig
this on the
don't
Waiting
either.
Exhale. I said this on the Waiting Exhale episode. I didn't like the songs. I didn't like the lyrics. I didn't like the styling. I didn't like the thematic. I didn't like any, like, there's like nothing redeeming. I said I like one little riff on it, and that's it. That's bad. Because as much as I love Mary, right?
Right, right.
Um, but as much as that song is a bee in my fucking bonnet, I also said on that Waiting to Exhale episode, I loved what it did for her.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
And everything you said, JR, God, like I said, you spitting.
Right.
Like it opened up that door to work with Babyface and to work well with Babyface. Cause as much as I hate the song, people love that godforsaken song.
They do.
Hey, I ain't the tastemaker, whatever. But it just opened up so many doors. And the fact that she could work well with him and there was no reports of her being a diva with him or anything like that, it went off without a hitch. So that's
Right.
like, oh, okay. Other producers like, okay, we can work with her and we can insert our sound into hers.
Right. Right. Right.
yeah, I mean, wow, that's a lot. But um, what Not Gonna Cry did, because I guess, well, I'll be 56 this month in like 2 weeks. But anyway, so
Ooh.
I'm a lot older, and I was kind of coming into the industry around this time. So I was hearing all of the, and among like people with industry connections, radio, that kind of thing, they were really bad mouthing Mary even throughout the My Life success
Yeah, they
and all
were.
the rumors about her and KC and stuff. So there was just all of this negativity around that. And what Not Gonna Cry did, what Not Gonna Cry did, was that because Mary was also seen as kind of like a new jack. All these new jack people, they can't really sing, they can't really do something that's emotional because older generations couldn't really hear the emotionality in My Life, but they got what she was doing in My Life through the format of Not Gonna Cry. Like they saw what we were feeling that she could do in My Life. They finally got it with Not Gonna Cry. I mean, I have to say, I agree with Andre Harrell that I don't think it was an appropriate song for her. It's like, why is she singing the song about being, a secretary and kids and all this kind of stuff? She's supposed to be young and everything like that. But it was
We
Sex,
only when
said
sex,
I
that
saw
on the
sex.
the
show.
yeah, but it was only when I saw the effect of what it had on older people and just seeing how it played on radio as radio was changing. That, you know, that's one of those things. There are a few Mary songs, No More Drama might be another one, but like that I just give her because I'm just like, this helped her get where
Yes.
she needed to go. So I'm just gonna go ahead and let you have that, you know. And I do have to say, I'm not gonna cry. I do love her singing that live for some reason.
Me
When
too.
I'm watching her, because there was one very early on, she did a performance. I think it was like Eric Clapton and Friends or something like that.
Yes, I love that
With the cowboy hat and stuff like that. And that was such a pivotal moment because it was like taking this song that was bridging generation, and then she had this white rock guy on it. And so it was really taking her to all of these different places and audiences. So, like I said, I give her Not Gonna Cry. I give her No More Drama. I'm not gonna say anything else because I don't want y'all to throw something at me through the screen. But you know, just a few songs that I like them because of what they've done for her career more than I like them personally.
I get it. Oh, I get it. I get it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I don't be mad like when people, because I mean, Not Gonna Cry ain't at the top of my list. I just rock with it because again, it did for what it was supposed to do for her. You know what I'm saying? Which made it a little easier for Steve Stout to come in and go like, okay, we're gonna do this as her manager. And then you had Hank Shockley, that was the VP of MCA, was like, oh, I can put her with this. I can put her over there. I can put her with this person. I can put her with this. So it made it a little easier for them once Not Gonna Cry gonna hit. Because if she didn't have that, I think a lot of people might not would have wanted to work with her because they'd have been like, well, maybe she can't give us a mainstream hit. You know what I'm saying? Like she can't. So it was just like,
yeah. I mean, MCA as a company, and internationally, that was the problem. Like they didn't understand the success of My Life because they didn't understand why a record would sell so many albums but didn't have any singles. Because all the things that they knew about it corporate wise are like radio, video, all of those things didn't line up for My Life to be a success. So it's like for them to put that budget behind her and in which enabled her to become a star, for them to put that money behind her, she had to prove that, hey, I can play within the rules and do something that works within your regular promotion system, regular marketing system, and Not Gonna Cry totally helped her do that. And yeah, it was invaluable to her career because for better or for worse, like you can't play like some people just will never get like an I Love You from My Life. You know, some people will never get those type of songs.
Some people not gonna be marriage, you know, yeah.
Yeah. And she's had to do that so many times in her career. She had to do it with No More Drama because she had to keep reinventing herself in order to keep getting that corporate backing. She had to do it with Be Without You, you know, so it's, as fans, I think, you know, we both have to understand like what speaks to us, but we also have to understand kind of like if these artists are signed to major labels, if the corporate isn't behind them, then there's going to be no album. There's going to be no second, third album, fourth album, fifth album, and stuff like that. So sometimes you have to kind of take those songs that aren't necessarily to your complete aesthetic likings and just, like I said, just give them up. I guess you can celebrate them for what they did. So I guess Not Gonna Cry is worthy of celebration for what it enabled her to do.
Right. So yeah, by this time, like now it's 96. And it's kind of like Mary's not like silent, but you know, Not Gonna Cry has hit so big. She's performing it on David Letterman. She's doing it on the Tonight Show. So she's getting that mainstream audience that she didn't have with the last two. So it's like, oh, okay. And then you started hearing rumblings of her, because I know I did, because once we came back home to New York, to New Jersey, and we came back home, we was hearing that, oh, Mary's working with Jam and Lewis. And I was like, wait, what?
Right.
I was like, wait, what? Oh. I was like, nah. And mind you, y'all, we couldn't just go online back then and see this. You had to hear it from like the freaking radio. You had to read magazines. You had to do all of this to kind of find
out. I read about it in Sister to Sister.
Yeah, right, going on. Yes.
it was so
Yeah.
sort of
What?
significant that I can remember standing in the train station. I think I was in Penn Station in the Hudson News
Yeah.
and flipping the page of their little gossip section said Mary J. Blige MCA throws a party for Mary J. Blige, basically in order to make her feel comfortable flying off to Minneapolis. And that's just I'm thinking this young girl from Yonkers. Well, not she wasn't that young at this time, but she had been around, but still coming out of her comfort zone of New York City to go to Minneapolis. That just must
Mhm.
have been terrifying for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did kid? What y'all know about Sister to Sister?
Oh,
Yo.
every Jamie Foster Brown, please,
Yes.
please. And that's another DMV person. So I'm
That
just
just warmed
DMV
my
all
heart.
day.
That was my little rag right there.
Oh yeah, no, please. And of all the magazines, I bought so many magazines, and I have, as you can see, I have like so many magazines from back in the day. But I rarely bought Sister to Sister because I'd be in the newsstand, like I would just be reading it,
Because
and
it
what
won't
I
fit.
wouldn't give. Yeah, they were those like
Yeah.
interviews that would go on. What I wouldn't give to have like a stack of old vintage Sister to Sister, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
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 That was
and
Sister
that's
was
Sister
staple
to
bound.
Sister for all the
It
youngins.
wasn't, yeah, it wasn't perfect brown. It was stitched back. So you could just flip through that thing. It wasn't perfect brown. No.
So I guess that's where I read it from. Well, I could because my mama had it. So my mama told me.
Probably.
She was like,
Yeah.
yeah, she was like, Mary working with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. I said, wait, what?
Well, you know why I used to always see it though?
Uh,
In my case, at the hairdresser.
Mm-hmm.
well.
You could always see it there, but yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Right,
for
right,
a woman's
right on
hairdresser,
top
but
of
yeah,
hype hair with Sister Sister.
but you had to be the right. So, like, I would always go to the newsstand, and I didn't have. I mean, it was like $5 or something, but that needs to go to CDs and stuff. So I would always be reading it and always be, not wanting the shop person to go, no reading. Are you gonna read or you gonna buy? Are you gonna read or you gonna buy? You know.
Yes. Oh, I know. I used to get caught reading the Source magazine all the time. While my mom would be shopping, I would be right there and looking. And if you have to read, are you gonna buy? Are you gonna buy it? And I'm like, I know my mom ain't paying for this, so I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. Hey.
Yeah, and when I interviewed Jimmy Jam for the article that I wrote about Share My World, and he, you know, kind of painted a portrait that she was very uncomfortable when
He sure
she
did.
got
He
there.
did.
And like and she didn't like, one track after the next. She just didn't like until he played her the Rick James sample that turned it into Love Is All We Need. And then she was like, okay, I can feel that. Not to bring the
Yes.
marriage dance back up into things. I think we were talking about it before the show started, but that's a married dance. That's a beat that's ready for the married dance.
Yes, yes. And that's crazy because then after you started hearing little rumblings, then you hear the first single, which was Love Is All We Need.
Now,
And
did
I
you
was
like it?
like, huh?
Did you like
Did
it
I like it?
when y'all both have to answer honestly? Did you like "Love Is All We Need" when you first heard
I loved it because it was her.
You know why I didn't love it?
Why?
And no disrespect to our good buddy Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
Uh-huh.
But I just hated that with the sample that they didn't do nothing with it. They didn't do nothing to it. It is it is Moonchild exactly. There's no like extra drum beat in it or like a some like when Moonchild come on, when I listen, cause let me some Rick James, when I listen to that and it come on and for about 15 seconds, I think it's about to be Mary.
Live
Because
Your
there's
Life,
no
girl?
difference. No disrespect, but they didn't they didn't jamify it, they didn't Lewisify it.
Uh, I
They
think
didn't.
I mean,
for
for me,
me,
like,
oh,
oh,
But
go ahead. No, no, no,
luckily,
go.
I love the Rick James song, but I just like the Rick James song more, and it's no difference to me. And then
I
they threw the little Nas on it. I understood why they put the Nas on it. I love Nas,
Well, they were
but
dating apparently at the time.
yeah,
but
and Jimmy Jam spilled that tea.
yeah, but it didn't. The Nas verse, as much as I do love Nas and I'm a big Nas fan, it didn't add anything for me. So I don't hate or I don't even dislike the song, but it don't do nothing for me at all.
So for me, when I heard it, and because I saw the video first,
Hmm.
so I saw the video and I was like, it felt New York to me, but I also said, wait a minute, this is a bigger sound. Mary got a big sound now because this is not her. Her stuff is normally raw and thick. This felt big. And then I was like, and I didn't know that record was Jam and Lewis yet. I didn't
Me neither.
notice. And then
Of
when
course you wouldn't notice because it was just Moonchild with the vocals took off.
to be
If,
honest with you, I
if
thought
I'm
it was
lying, I'm flying, and I'm sitting in this chair, so I ain't lying.
I thought it was Track Masters at first.
It's giving big track master energy.
Indeed, it is. That's why I said this sounds like the Track Masters. I said, okay, this is who Mary rocking with. And the video, it gave me New York again. It gave me all of that vibe because again, I was coming back home. So I already had a culture shock for being in South Carolina for 5 years. So I'm coming back home and I'm like, oh, okay. I can't walk outside without my shoes on no more. I can't. So, so I can't do that anymore. So now I'm back home and I see Mary up there. And then at the end of the video, she just giving us the Mary dance, y'all, before it really became something. And she just up there on the rooftop, just going off. And I was like, okay, I'm with it. But the first thing I also said, this ain't Chucky. I was like, this is not Chucky. But I was like, okay. And I just started getting hyped for it. I was like, okay, Mary's coming with a new album. Okay, cool. So for me, I was cool with it. I wasn't like when I first heard Be Happy. When I heard first Be Happy, I was like, oh, okay. My girl is Mary is back for real, for real. You know what I'm saying? But
Forever.
this,
Yeah, right.
I was
Yeah.
like, okay, all right, Mary, this is what we giving. We giving a bigger sound. Cool. So that was my first thing, but I was hyped because I knew she was coming with this new album. I was ready. I was ready. So how did you feel, Craig?
Well, you just summed up my exact thing. It's like nothing will ever, as far as a Mary moment, nothing will ever compare to the first time I heard Be Happy on the radio,
Mm-hmm.
and just having loved What's the 411 so much and just hearing that she had changed her sound, but it was so raw and it was so emotional and it was just fantastic feeling that I was I think that there's no way that Love Is All We Need can match up to that. And I mean, I think that there's just not much to the song. I mean, I think the true test of the song is the fact that I think I've only seen her perform it live once,
Yeah,
for the Share My World tour. But
mm-hmm.
I've never seen her. She's never brought that back or anything like that. It's not, that's what I mentioned. So I think again, it did its job. I think it allowed the MCA promotion people to go, oh, new Mary J. Blige single produced by Jam and Lewis and stuff like that. So it got a lot of ads and, it did its thing, just like Not Gonna Cry did its thing. But I think that of her lead singles, and I can't go through all of them in my mind, but of her lead singles, I think it's probably the weakest in terms of standing the test of time. Because I don't know anybody that loves this. I don't hear people like, I don't hear it. I've never heard DJs play it. Like it just doesn't really have much of a life for it to have been the first single of such an important album.
And then with the fact that then she didn't really promote it like that because, like we were saying, this is when Big passed.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, she was dealing with that more than actually pushing this single. You know what I mean? So it was like her at the, being at the funeral and all of that. So it was like, and this song was like really like out there and you didn't see her really performing it. Like I think during that era, I saw her perform it like she performed on the Soul Train Awards and Rosie O'Donnell. That was it. That was it when Rosie O'Donnell had her show. That was it. I didn't see nothing else. So it was like, okay. So then we know that this album is coming out April 22nd, 1997. I was like, Mama, we going to get this thing. She was like, absolutely. She was like, we're going to get it. Absolutely. I was like, yes. And I just remember us going on 42nd Street, and this time we brought it. At least, not the three
You
for
ain't get
10.
you ain't get no 3 for 10?
No, no, did not.
Oh, oh, nigga, you let me down. No 3 for 10.
So, we, wait a minute. Did we get the 3%? Thinking about it. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Now, I done brought Mary so many times. So, if we did get the three, I think we did. I think we actually did. Yes. We got off the suburban transit, going to my grandma to go see her in Brooklyn. And we got on 42nd. We went on Pickett Avenue. Yes. We went on Pickett Avenue and walked, and they had the cassette. And yeah, my mother ended up getting, she just brought that. We didn't buy anything else. She just got that. Yeah, we got a bootleg, but then y'all, we ended up buying it afterwards. I brought it. So yes.
Well, back in the
Oh,
day,
then
you the
you must
bootleg
have
you
paid
get it earlier
$4
too.
for it then. Cause you don't get that, you don't get the discount if you just buy one. You gotta get the package.
I hate you.
I'm a hood bitch. I know how that shit works.
But y'all
Yes.
know that, like back in the day, if you wanted the extra songs, if you wanted the songs that wouldn't make the album necessarily, you got to get the bootleg. Like there were
You
many
have
of
to.
bootlegs that I bought, and then when the thing came out, I'd be like for example, like Jay-Z's I guess Volume 2 or yeah, I think I don't know, I guess it's Volume 2, but Is That Your Bitch was on my bootleg, and then it didn't end up being on the album. I was like, wait a minute, this is the hottest track.
Yes.
They ended up like on a Siegel album later, on a Memphis Bleak album later, or
Yeah, it
something
was
like
Yeah, it
on
was
that.
his
on Memphis Bleak
understanding. Yep.
album. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, so no,
Yeah,
no
because when
shade
I
to the
did get,
bootlegs.
yes, because when we did get the bootleg for real, because and a dream it was on it. So yes.
Wow, see, so that's that.
Yeah, yes. So
I
you're
hope you still
right.
have that. That
So
would be,
you
yeah.
so you
Yes,
won. You won.
yes. So I just
The
remember
rest
I
of us
was
are
like,
waiting until money talks.
listen, listen.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
that
but
was the one that actually, when I found out that she was part of Suge Knight management too.
Yeah, because it had yeah. But you all know why the bootlegs always had extra songs and stuff like that? It's
Why?
because journalists like me would get the promos would be way in advance. And so some of the songs that wouldn't make the final cuts would be on the advanced cassettes that we would get. So
Okay.
that journalists would then we would get paid money to sell, undercover money to sell our advanced cassettes to the bootleggers. And that's why the bootleggers always had these advanced, because the versions were always had all these extra songs on them, stuff like that, because those were sometimes you read Vibe reviews and they go, oh, and a great song, blah blah blah, and you're like, wait a minute, that song ain't on the album. It's because it was on the advance and it later got cut. So those little
Uh,
bootlegs are gems.
yes, it was. So I had to dream on there because then after going to buy the regular one, it wasn't there. So I was like, oh, okay.
so
But I just remember getting there, and my mom was like, "Look, I'm
that
tired,"
would have been the
because my
best song
mom,
on the album if it
oh,
had been on there.
oh, we ain't
Second
there
best.
yet. We
Hold
ain't
on,
there
why did you
yet,
say that
girl.
again? There's a little
No, I
interference.
said
I need to hit that
if
comment
a
again.
dream would have been on it, it would have been the best or the second best song on that album. And I stand on that.
You are being mean already. We ain't there yet.
I ain't being mean.
That's a mean comment. I mean, I don't think the dream is
That's not
spectacular.
mean.
So it's like
Yeah,
I
that
don't.
is
I think
that's an
objectively,
amazing record.
yeah.
Then have Kelly Price on there too. Like it was like,
Mm.
whoo.
Like,
So,
okay, but go ahead.
so, so
I'm
nah.
sorry.
So I just remember
I'm
my
just
mom was like,
excited.
"Look, I'm tired," because my mom went out with her friends the night before. So she was like, "Look, I don't feel like listening to music. We gonna get to your grandma's house. I'm going in the room. I'm going to bed." So I said, oh, I get to have this Mary album to myself? What? I was like, okay. I go in my grandma's room. I put on my cassette. I put in the cassette player. I put on my headphones and I enter Mary's world. And it starts with the intro. The most prolific. I was like, they was giving track masters was give. I was like, if we gonna start something, y'all gonna show why she is who she is. And it was like, to me, it was just like, y'all. I was like, this is my fave. Like, I'm like, hearing, they saying what she is. But my most favorite part of this was when she said, who's respected in the streets as well as their peers. That was my favorite part because what we just talked about during this whole thing, that Mary was just us. But then she was also getting her respect in, you know what I'm saying? Getting her respect
Yeah.
in with her peers now after Not Gonna Cry. So it was like that line made so much sense. I was like, and nobody could match her conviction. I was like, what? I was hyped. Like, I was like, y'all doing this right now. Like, I'm like, bring me in, please. I was like, bring me in. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
Wait a
I
minute,
was hyped
I'm
for
still
this.
back on A Dream. Do you remember where it was in the track list?
It was the last song.
After Not Gonna Cry or before, or was
It
Not Gonna
was
Cry not
after
on
Not
it?
Gonna Cry because it went from
Oh,
Our Love, Not Gonna Cry, and then it ended with A Dream.
that's really interesting.
Because I was just like, so then when I brought it and we went and got it and we paid some money because we paid for the CD, not the cassette. And I was like, where's the dream at? I was like, me and my mom was like, yeah, this is the last song. Like, why is Not Gonna Cry the last song? I was like, I don't know. And then when the Money Talks project came, you saw it on there and it was like, well, why? What happened? I was like, I didn't know then. I was like, something must have political must have happened. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. So yeah. So yeah. So yeah. So once the intro came in, I was like, okay, my girl is talk your shit, queen. That's what I said. I was like, talk your shit, yo. Saying the award she won and all that shit. I was like, talk your shit, queen. Go ahead, talk it. So that's how I felt about the intro. I'm sorry.
You fine? What are you talking for?
So yeah, so obviously Trackmaster started that, did that, Poke and Tone did that one, and then it goes into I can love
You know,
you.
yeah, when I was listening to it after, because I'm not much of now, I'm glad you like the intro. I'm not much on intros and interludes in general.
At least
So
ain't
like,
either.
so like I was like, whatever, when's it gonna start? But when I heard that um Queen Bitch beat come in and had no idea that that was what was about to happen, like my head, like it just my head would explode. Like that's kind of what I would want, what I was expecting, kind of from the first single, like just something that just grabbed at my heart, and it was like when I heard "Be Happy" for the first time, it's like I knew that I'd be listening to that song for the rest of my life. Same thing with "I Can Love You." Like I knew on the first couple of beats that I will be listening to this song and loving this song till the day I die. You know,
Yes.
Um,
It
just
was,
take the dum dum. That is my eternal. If you won't see me be a whole ass bird, throw that on.
not a
Turkey.
bird.
Like
Now, I
that. That. And like Craig said, the way it come with the queen bitch, which is my like I can recite that whole shit with conviction. So to hear that and then it go, duh, 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 I was like, I lost my mind. This is when I was entering college. So this was in the clubs. Then the
and you
queen,
know,
and then the
talking
little
about like
Kim verse. Told you once, I told you twice, QB. Like
yeah.
I
I
was
think
high
it took me
impressed.
a while to like really appreciate, because what you were saying earlier about the how you felt like Jam and Lewis didn't do much to the sample of to the Moonglow sample. It's like it took me a while to realize all that Rodney had going on the I Can Love You sample. And like wow, it's like there's melodies, like there's chords here, there's all of this kind of stuff. But this is such a jam. Like at first I was so into the um just the beat, but like listening to it from perspective, it's like he was really doing some for something that he did like the night before. He had a meeting with her in order to play some tracks.
Yes, Craig. Yes.
He was really laying down some chords and stuff. You know, that's
Yes.
that church. That's that, you know, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. It's like all of that, his training and stuff just allowed him to do all of that over this beat. And it's just incredible.
And I remember him, and at least I think I did that because I was just like, that's Queen Bitch. I was like, oh, I was like, and then you saw on the track list that Little Kim was going to be on it. So I was like, oh, it makes sense. I was like, duh. I was like, oh shit. So mind you, I'm in my own world listening to it because Bob is asleep. So that when after I listened to the album and all that, and then she got up and I was playing it, I was like, Ma, that's Little Kim. She said, wait. She said, that ain't Little Kim first. I said, well, who is it? She was like, it's my girl Roberta Flack. I was like, what song is this? She was like, hey, that's no way to say goodbye. I was like, oh, excuse me. I was like, I'm sorry. I was like, oops. I was like, my bad. I was like, because I was just like, yeah, that's Lil Kim joint. And she was like, that's cute, but it's Roberta Flack. And she's a big Roberta Flack fan. And I had to get on it after a while because I wasn't. So I didn't know, and she like mad at me because she was like, wait a minute, I play that. So I'm like, Ma, I'm not in the samples like you yet. Like, I'm not getting them. I'm only 11.
Pick it
Like,
right
give
up.
me some time. I can't grab them. I know you play them, but I can't get it. And mind you, this Little Kim joint just came out like a year ago. Not even, because it came out in November of
Not,
'96.
I was about to say, not even a whole year.
Not even a year. The
Wow,
joint was only out for like 4 or 5 months before this album comes out. So I'm like, this
that's
is new
high.
in my head. But I'm
Which is
glad that
which
you
was
brought
risky,
very,
Yes,
but it
very.
paid
now that you
off.
put it like that.
It
It
Yeah,
paid
paid
off
off.
for both of them.
And I love the
That
fact
was
that this
mutually
got
beneficial.
and it got Rodney on. I'm glad that you brought that up, Craig, because for him to do it that night and to go there to audition for this record, and Mary heard it and lost her complete mind when she heard the record.
which
Like,
we all can understand why she would.
oh,
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. So it was like she lost her mind and it got him the job to get him 5 joints on this album. Because she was like, oh, send everybody home. I want him. Like, I want him. Give me him. And Rodney was new. Like nobody really knew him. He was with, Teddy, and he had the joint with Gina Thompson, but he wasn't known. So to bring him in and all that, and to be honest with you, I don't know how y'all will feel about this, but I think if this was really the first single, I think a lot of award season, Mary would have gotten it. Because to me, she had to go against Erica with On and On.
yeah. But see, that's where those politics come in because it's like
Yeah.
they would not have put all the money into that project and release it. You couldn't have advertised new Mary J. Blige single produced by Rodney Jerkins.
You're right.
That's that
You're right.
politics. It's like the first
Yeah.
single had to be. I mean, all this, and sometimes, I mean, I didn't ask Jimmy Jam this, but I know it's in some people's contracts. Some producers, like that are big enough producers, they insist that their songs are going to be like singles. Like there's no option
Oh yeah.
for any
Oh
change.
yeah.
It's in the contract for it to be single. So I feel like they always knew they wanted everything to kind of cross over more pop, but they knew they had to kind of, warm the plate a little bit with something. So
Okay.
I think as far as those first two single choices, well, so wait a minute. So I Can Love You came out urban after Love Is All We Need, but
Right.
then while everything was impacting pop, right? It was kind of like was sort of simultaneous, if I can recall.
I think so. I think so.
Because
I
there's no
think
physical single of I Can Love You.
it's not. It's
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
I think radio just had it and it was a promo single and that was it. Like you couldn't go buy I Can Love You. Like you couldn't. You know what I mean? So that's why I just be like, oh, because every time I just be like, damn, why couldn't this be the first single? Because this is first single fire right here. Like this is the one. But you just explained how Mary's coming back and the artist that she is. You got to create something around it. So it's like, Mary's working with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Oh, this is great. So, I mean, I
Which
get
is
it.
different to bring back to your example. I'm sorry, just real quick to bring back to your example of Erica, because she was a new artist, she didn't need a big producer. So
Right, right, right.
What's funny is the CD single. The CD single was "I Can Love You" and "Love Is All We Need," but "I Can Love You" was the first song on the CD single.
Really?
Hmm.
that must have been, was
Wow.
it a US release? because I don't even think Love Is All We Need was released as a. This was during the time when they were trying to only release singles promotionally, so that people would have to buy the album. So
Right.
because I know my Love Is All We Need single is UK.
Mm.
Because that has some mixes on it that I didn't even end up liking after
Because I
spending
knew,
top dollar.
But there's a CD, and it is US, a CD single, and it's no special mixes or nothing. It's I Can Love You. It's not promo. I Can Love You and Love. Oh, it's okay. I take that back. It's Love Is All We Need remix.
with Foxy.
Okay,
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Yep.
correction. Yeah, it's the remix. I didn't see
Okay.
that.
That,
Yeah.
that
I
one
don't
might
like
have.
a single one of those remixes. I didn't like the song. I kept hoping that there was, because you know me, I'm a remix person. So I kept every time they would do a "Love Is All We Need" remix, I'm like, okay, maybe I'm gonna like sped up for a dance mix. Maybe I'm gonna like another hip hop mix. Nope.
Mhm.
And I also knew that was the time when they was
Man, if they
really
did,
what.
I feel like Love Is All We Need. The jazz they could have, if it didn't have like a little dub mix or something to at least
Uh-uh.
try to get it to the clubs. Because I don't know.
I don't think
Not
anybody
not
liked it
not the
enough
black
to mess
clubs,
with
but
it.
to the the
Yeah.
oons oons clubs. Yeah.
I just don't. I think it was one of them songs that like it's a corporate song. It's like if you played that in a boardroom and people go, "Oh, this first thing," go, "Okay, yeah, whatever. Okay, let's go to lunch." You know what I mean? Like it's good
Yeah.
enough to get corporate money behind, but it's like nobody's passionate about it because passion's always going to go both ways. And I'm sure there were a lot of people that probably did not like "I Can Love You" in the same way they didn't get songs off the My Life album. So it's like, when you have to go these, and the sad thing that we're talking here is we're talking like a lot of black folks too, because it was that generation divide. It was that generation of of black record executives that came up through the 70s and the 80s and stuff like that, who were looking for the next Whitney Houston, who were looking for that kind of mold, and they didn't understand a Mary J. Blige, and they didn't want to understand a Mary J. Blige. So it's like those she was just up against a lot of stuff like that. And I think when we look at single choices and everything, I think we have to consider that it was all of these really like old bougie, folks that
Yeah.
just didn't like, that felt very threatened by this street stuff, and they felt more comfortable with it if she was going to be with the Jam and Lewis.
Right, right. I get it. I get it. And for me, I just like you said, it's just damn because even then, back in 97, because I remember Hot 97 was really pushing the Love Is All We Need remix as well. They were
Okay.
pushing that. And I kept hearing it with Foxy. And I'm like, that's
Yeah, I
why
remember that.
I also feel like it was also with that little Kim and Foxy thing too, because that was a time when they wanted the Thelma and Louise stuff.
Right. And the
And
Trackmasters
and
and
I'm
Foxy
like,
were like that.
they
Yeah.
were like this, and then you do a I Can Love You with Kim on it, and then the remix, you got the remix of Love Is All We Need as the B-side. Like, what's going on here? Like, you know what I'm saying? So it was for me. So I was just, I'm like, I just love I Can Love You. And see, clearly, Hank Shockley and all of them was sitting there trying to do this album and putting track listing. They knew to start it with this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm
That
saying?
much was clear. Yeah.
Yes,
Of the
like you
creative
come out of
people
that.
involved. Yeah.
Yes, you come with that intro, it come boom. You know what I mean? And obviously, this was the one that Mary really loved too because Angie Martinez talks about this all the time. She said, Mary, we was in the limo. Mary was like, yo, I just did a record. I need y'all to hear this. Angie Martinez said they got fur and liquor and all of this in the car. And she said, yo, Mary played it and they lost it. And Mary was like, yo, this is gonna be the new record. So I even think Mary even thought this was gonna be her first single because how strong it was. But politics jumps into play, and like you said, it's all about It's all about
And
the
you know, that's
politics of
that's
it
the thing
all.
about Love Is All We Need. It's like it would be easier if it was a bad record. Like I don't think it's a bad record. It's just not a very it's just not an impressive record. And I think that's what made it, you know, I mean, I tried so hard to love that song through I mean, not through the years, through the months before the album came out. Because once the album came out, I didn't care about it anymore. But just in the time, you know, when that was the bridge between my life and Share My World, I tried to love that song, but
Right.
no, it's just
Look, I rock with it, but I agree with y'all. You know what I'm saying? So obviously, because that's
No,
the next song. So
oh yeah, but no, I to this day go crazy anytime I don't get sick of it. But I think you have to also that came out. I was what like 18, 19?
oh yeah,
Like
you was in them
so
streets.
right. So contextually, I would I was the main demographic for that song. So I will always love it, but I do understand the context that I was I was 18, 19, fine and wild. I was here for it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
let's be for real. For a lot of people, that wasn't for a single from that album. Like for a lot of people, like college age people and stuff like that, who were really obsessing about over Mary's, you know, thing. A lot of people never even knew about Love Is All We Need. Their introduction to Share My World was through I
it
Can Love You.
I
So
love you.
for all
Yeah.
intents
it
and
did
purposes, it was.
Yeah.
it didn't get a crazy amount of radio play. I was a radio junkie. It didn't get a crazy amount of radio play. So some people might could have missed it.
It did in DC. In DC, that was all you heard. Like in DC,
North
it was
Carolina,
like
not so much.
okay, because like in DC,
Not
it
so
was like
much.
there was the day before the album came out, it was all about Love Is All We Need. The second that album, you didn't hear Love Is All We Need. Yeah, all you heard was I could like it wasn't no fade out. It wasn't no slowly going out of rotation. It was like somebody
It,
flicked the light switch, and that song,
yeah,
the one song was gone, and the other song was
yeah. It was abrupt.
like,
Like,
Wow. Well, see, I was in New York, so we love Mary. So it really didn't matter. Like, you know what I'm saying? They was playing Love Is All We Need. But you're right. After that album came out, we didn't really hear Love Is All We Need no more. It was like, you heard I Can Love You. That was it. It
right.
was like, this is what they were pushing. You was hearing it on
yeah,
Kiss
yeah.
without Little Kim's verse. You was hearing it on
Oh, really?
WBLS. Yes, you was hearing it on WBLS. You was hearing because again, that's Mary's home, so they're gonna give Mary all the radio spin. So
But
it
Kiss
was
will take
like,
a rap out of anything. I don't think I've ever heard
listen
a rapper's
here,
version of
Yeah.
"I Can Love You."
and I'm like, you
But
can't
you know
do
what?
that. Like I'm like, come on, Kiss, come on
But
now.
but here, our like more adult contemporary station, they took the rap out too.
Really?
I'm
I've never heard it, and I don't ever want to hear it. So I'm not. I don't want to put
like,
that on the universe.
However,
I don't
we
need to
had
hear that
many other
song.
during that time in Durham, North Carolina. We did have we had a bunch of black stations. So it was just that one station, the station that, if I was in a car with my mom, if I was going home on break for college in her car, that's what I would hear. But on campus,
I told you once, I told you twice.
Told you
You
twice.
waiting for that?
Before we move on from this song, though, I have to say I think that's one of Big's best verses that he ever wrote on his albums, on hardcore or anything. I think that is one of his best verses.
And he was the smartest dude in the world. You know why?
Yeah,
Because he let Little Kim on. If you look on the songwriting, she wrote it because he
yeah.
wasn't giving that publishing to that fool. I said, Big, that was a smart dude,
Oh,
very
I didn't even
smart.
think that.
That's
Yes,
why he did it. Because if
because
you
he'd
look at a
already
lot of what he did on the Junior Mafia
Junior
project,
Mafia stuff. Yeah, it's like C's and
C's and all of them, he did that because the publisher
people
wouldn't
you
go to
knew
pub.
weren't holding no pen, weren't in the studio with no pen.
Right. So he like, nah, because I know Puff, that's why he didn't even let, them sign to Bad Boy. They signed to Atlantic.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah,
was smart. He was a smart dude. And you
that
thinking,
is
you looking at the
genius.
track list and like, oh, Kimberly Jones wrote this, not knowing it was like Rodney came out was like, no, no, no. Big came in and wrote that verse, and Kim executed it. You know what I'm saying? She gave it what
To
it
me,
needed.
yeah. And she did a flawless job, and that's what a
Flawless.
performer does, you know. But I mean, to me, just you can't listen to that record. Like if you can't listen to that verse and not know that Big did not write that verse. If you really know Big's music
Yes.
and you hear that verse, just the references, the cadence, the rhythmic, it's just Big. Like it's just like
Yeah.
everything on hardcore is Big. I
You
mean,
know,
I'm not
even the
taking anything
woof.
away from her. Yeah, exactly. I'm not taking anything away from her, but her rhymes before and after Big Death, it's a different person. It's not the same
It
thing,
don't
you
it,
know.
it don't
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that
I
it's
remember,
that soul
and
she wants.
I remember when, because now that we had my dad in the R&B world, at least my dad was just straight hip hop for real. And once we got him, and my mom pulled him in, she pulled him into the R&B world. And then when we played this, he said, my dad said it just like this. My nigga wrote that.
Real ones
He was
know.
like,
Real ones
my
know.
nigga wrote that. He was like, I
Yeah.
know my dude. My nigga wrote that. You know what I'm saying? And mind you, this is after Big done died. So he like, oh, that's my man's right there. Like he was like, this is my dude that wrote that verse. Cause he was like, the way the cadence of it all, he was like, nah, man, that's
yeah.
Big. Cause
It,
it
And
just
the
the way
Debussy Wright reference and all that
about
kind of stuff. It's just too sick.
yeah, with
keep going there.
ghost written rhymes, the cadence will give it away every time. It's the
Yep.
cadence. It ain't even the words, it's the cadence.
And then she executed it. Nobody could execute it like Kim.
Well,
Nobody.
I don't think we should underestimate that because it's like, you know, they did have like I think that Kim really was his muse. Like I think Kim brought something incredible out of him. And you know, you listen to hardcore and it's obviously by him, but it's almost like you think about Prince with like Vanity Six and Apollonia Six, or Prince and any other women artists that he worked with.
Right. Yeah.
Just like, you know, the Bengals Manic Monday isn't the same as Sex Shooter. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
but you can tell that they're both by Prince. It's like Kim really brought out the best in Big because Big knew what she was capable of delivering, and he
Yes.
pushed her to the end point of doing that. And it's just, I mean, I think it's one of the just that verse. Even I would even say, even taking out of the song, which is one of my favorite songs, but even taking out of the song, just that verse is just one of the finest moments of like, just musical collaboration and mastery and wonder. I mean, just that verse alone is just one of the best things that I've ever heard in my life.
I agree. I totally agree. So yeah, we had to give "I Can Love You" the love because we had to, especially coming after "Love Is All We Need." I kind of knew it was gonna go there. I was like, especially when you said, "How did y'all really think about Love Is All We Need?" I said, "Oh, I did." Okay, Craig is asking. Oh God. So "Love Is All We Need" is number 3. We get into number 4, which is "Round and Round." This is a favorite for me and Mom because it's a song of every Mary album that me and her sing and just lose our complete minds with. And we did that with My Love on What's the 411. We do that with Mary's Joint on My Life and Round on this. And it was just like, it's just like something comes over. And I remember when I was by myself listening to it, and I was like, first of all, I was like, this is Jay's Devils. I was like, this is Jay's Devils on here. I was like, oh, they're using the hook. I was like, okay, bet.
Oh, the
But I
evil.
was, thank you. Thank you. And then it just had a thickness to me that I was like, okay, this is the thick Mary that I'm used to, especially after coming off My Life. This had a thickness to it to me. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I like this. I was like,
You
okay,
wanted
Mary.
that. It seemed like you really wanted that grander sound. You kind of wanted, as much as you love My Life, you were kind of, it seems like with your comments, you were looking for a fuller sound this time out.
Yes, I was, because I wanted her to grow as an artist. I was like,
Right.
Mary, grow. I don't want it to be another My Life again. I don't want that. But I
Right.
do want the depth that you gave us, but let it be big. And when she did a joint like this with Round and Round, I was like, this is a thickness. I was like, I like this. I was like, oh, and then Mary talking her shit. This is like, I got to keep going around and round with you. Like, when am I gonna stop? Like, I'm over it. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, I was like, Mary, I'm there with you, girl. I'm there. Like now, after I Could Love You, and I played that about 3, 4 times, I was like, now I'm round and round. I was like, cool. And when my mom finally heard it, she was like, oh yeah, I like this. Play that again. And she was like, play that again. And so I played when I told her we was doing this, and I was like, Mom, we doing the Share My Word album with Craig. And she also remembers you too, Craig. She was like, the one that gathered you. I
Oh,
said, yes.
oh, so high.
And then yes, and then she was like, yes, and she was like, Elise just was like, she rocked with him, and she was like, I agree because you was doing too much. But anyway, and she was like, oh, y'all doing Share My Word. She was like, I know you're gonna go off about our song. I was like, what's our song? She was like, Round and Round. I said, of course, Mom, of course. So that's the love give Mom. That's our record right there. So that I love Round and Round. I was like, yes, I'm in Mary's world now. Like, let's go. So how'd y'all feel about it?
I mean, I love the, everything that you said about it. I mean, those were things that I appreciated about it. I mean, it does have that kind of bottom, and it does have that feel. I think what you were saying, like into Mary's world, is like, with each track, I'm trying to go back to when I was first listening to it. It's just like you're kind of going deeper into kind of a deeper place,
Mm-hmm.
not the same place as in My Life, but like it's like she's creating a different sort of sonic world for herself. And so it was like that. So it's like Round and Round wasn't like a song that I would play over and over again by itself, but like as a part of the flow of going to it, I definitely appreciated it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, you know what I feel about this song, Chad? Take
I
a while
know,
here.
I know, I know. I yes.
No, but what specifically? How do I feel about this song?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm because
Either way,
you
either
yeah,
way.
you feel nothing. It didn't swing left, it didn't swing right. Because I remember when I play it and you be here and you be like, okay. Like she walks around like it's nothing being played right now. Like that's what she does.
Oh no.
Like,
Now that's a
like
little
I'm playing
different.
it. I'm like,
It's one
this
thing. It's
I'm
one thing to. What are you exactly saying? Are you saying that she's going out of her way to ignore it, or are you saying that it just doesn't? It just doesn't register with her because those are two
it
different
just
things.
doesn't register. And at
Okay.
least the one thing about Elise, if a song that she don't like that she knows I like it, she let me have all the glory I want. But
always.
in that moment, it's like sometimes I'll be like, sis, come with me, and she be like, like this is yours, you can have it. I'm gonna go to the refrigerator.
Ooh,
I'm gonna get me
yeah,
another drink or something. I'm good.
yeah.
Like,
I would never begrudge JR, anyone for that matter. They love it, go off. But I'm not also not in the habit of pretending. But but with the song does not offend me in any way, but it just doesn't. And I think a lot of songs this album, I don't think they're objectively bad by any means.
right.
It's not really a song on this album where I'm like, well, maybe one, but that I'm like, "Ugh," at all. It's
Mm-hmm.
just it's very even for me. But the songs that I do like, it is over the top that I love
I
them.
would
Like
say
I
that
Could Love
I would
You
agree
and
with
a
you.
couple others that we'll get to, but like that, but everything is just very even for me. And that's okay. It doesn't get the run back, but I still respect the album because I don't think it's poor quality.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, I think that's such a good way to sum up what my feelings are about the album too. I mean, it's all well done. There's nothing that offends me. There's nothing that I think is like bad on it. It's just and then but the weird thing about it is it has certain moments that are so incredible.
So yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
it would be easy like to dismiss it as like, oh, that's just her corporate album, that's just her doing those things. But there are some moments on there that really hit. So it's a hard album to kind of it's a hard album to love, I think. You know, it's an it's a it's an album to appreciate and to like, but I think it's a hard album to kind of like love wholly because for me, just because there are a lot of songs that, like Elise was saying, like I just feel sort of indifferent about. I would never, I don't feel there's anything bad about them or anything like that. They just don't necessarily register to the place that I expected of Mary. And the way that it works in terms of longevity is like Mary keeps raising the bar. So it's like the more material she releases and the more great moments she has, then certain things that I think of were just kind of average at the time, they just kind of go further down the list. So, but this,
Yeah.
I'm not including that round and
And
round of that. I'm just talking
actually,
about in general.
I think why the songs that I don't connect with, I think part of the reason why is we just came off a motherfucking My Life, right?
Mm-hmm.
This very deeply emotional and personal and just in the mud, like just raw nerves and just emotion. And that the writing on this album is not giving me the same depth. So it's hard coming off of that
It makes perfect sense.
Indeed.
for
Yeah.
me because
Mhm.
I'm just waiting for this emotional experience. And the songs outside of I Can Love You, there's no deep emotional thing. I just think it's a bop. But the other songs that I really with, there's a emotion and there's a writing that's just like, ooh, and like I can sink my teeth into. And so those songs are just like off the charts for me. So the songs that I love on this, I mean, I love them down. And Jared know that because he knows
Same.
what songs like
Yeah, yeah.
down,
Oh yeah.
like yeah, sacred level. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we get to the Share My World interlude, which it's like, okay, you know what I mean? All right, Mary. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm kind of there with the interludes. I'm like, all right. But to me, it's just like I love like share my world. I'm like, okay. And then, he's saying the Black Queen and things like that. I'm like, and then he throws it back to love is all we need. I'm like, I'm like, why? But okay. I'm
So we
like,
had moved
oh,
on.
That was weird.
yes. I was like, love is all we need. Why we're going back there? Like,
We did
okay.
that.
Right. So I was like, we did that already. And then we go into Share My World. I was like, oh,
Oh,
Mary, girl. I was
See?
like,
And see, you see, this is a song I love, and it's gonna be over the top. Like that song does it for me. Like I connect to that title track.
yes, yes. Rodney did his big one on this one. Like, for real,
that
like
church kid, those church kid
the
chords,
yes, some
you know.
church chords, yo. And it's
It's so church.
oh
I think Share My World is a song from there that I do think just that does get richer with time. I mean, there
it
has never
does.
been a moment that I've turned that song off, that I've walked out of the room. I mean, that song just completely catches me by the
Mhm.
heart in a different way than songs of my life
Yeah.
because it's so musical, which is all
Hmm.
due to Rodney, which is I love my life, but it's not what you would call like musical. It's sample based. It's like the tracks. That's what the whole point of it was, and those
Right.
allowed her the context for her to just riff and speak what was on her mind.
Right.
But Share My World just like just kind of lifts itself up as this kind of immaculate song, and her delivery on it, and it's just wonderful. It's just
It's such a good vocal.
Oh yes.
What she's doing,
Yes.
the jazz shit she doing, cause I don't know, she can keep on denying that she a jazz singer, but that's what the fuck she is. And and it come out real strong on this song.
Yes. 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 And
The
with
reflections,
and then with me at this time, I'm 11, I'm turning 11, and I'm listening to this thing, right? And for me, I always need an album. For me, Mary always brought out an album when I needed it. And I needed this album because I was again back home and I needed it. I felt like I belonged back home. And this album gave me that. And this song, when Mary said, Promise I'll be here, baby, don't you have no fear.
Yeah.
Like that right there, I was like, oh my God. I was like, and in that moment, this is the time where I'm also into Aretha at this time, right?
Mm.
And this is the time I'm into that. And this song that she has, You and Me, off The Spirit in the Dark. Thank you, Mark, for the vinyl.
Thank you,
And
Mark, for mine. He said
right.
he was good.
Yeah. And it reminded me when she said in the song, I got your love, baby, you got me. And that was the only thing that I can reference at that time. And I was like, oh, she's giving me Aretha. She's giving me that. Oh, Mary, I feel so warm. You're making me feel like, okay, I'm belonging back home with this record. And it was a good vocal. It was just good production. It was just like she floated on this record. And like you said,
Yeah.
it's like she
So
comes in,
natural.
ooh, la, la, la. Won't you share my world? Like, and then she did that. And then it's like she did that for like a good minute. And then, Mary got to give you the big note. Won't you share my ooh, like
You
that?
know,
And it was just like,
I really wish when I talked to Rodney, I asked him how many takes she did of that because the beauty of the vocal is it sounds like a song that she's been singing all of her life. Like
yes.
she's not, it's not, it doesn't, it never sounded like a new song. It always sounded like something familiar by the way. I think that's some of those jazz inflections, but it sounds like just, something it felt very familiar right off the bat. I think the best songs on Share My World kind of do that. I think I Can Love You also had the same sort of immediacy where it instantly felt like this is it, this is a classic, this is a moment. But I just would love to know like how many times she actually did that vocal, because if it was one of the first or second vocals, then she's just like a genius, because it sounds like somebody has been singing that particular song all their life and they're finally get this moment to record it and now they're putting all their heart and soul into it.
Yeah. I,
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I
I
totally
couldn't agree
agree.
more.
Yes. Like I can't. I
Oh, we're all
can't.
in agreement.
Yes.
Yay.
I
Title
loved it.
track.
Yeah,
Oh
that's all
God,
that's
yes. I
special.
was just like, and I was like, Mary, you got me. Like, I'm with you. Let's keep floating. You know what I mean? Let's float on. And she goes to 7 days. Now see, that's her joint. That's her joint right there.
I thought it was. I thought I was about to. I was. I thought you were walking out of the room because you ain't like it. I was like, what? I ain't never
No,
known anybody to not like 7 days.
I could keep it. I could keep it to myself. Shout out to Tony. No, that is not only is that my favorite song on the album, it is one of my favorite Mary songs. It's in my top 10 America. That's a hard one because she got so many great songs. It's in the top 10, maybe top five,
Do you
maybe
like
top
story
30.
songs in general? Like, do you like songs that tell
Yes,
stories? Like, okay,
big,
so yeah, so I can see that.
hugely. Yes, that's my thing. Yeah,
And
stories. Give me a narrative. Give me a narrative.
I love how you said, and when we did the Mary album, and you said how 7 days actually prepared you for the Mary album. And at first I never thought about that, but I was like, oh sis, I get it. Like it's like it was so thick. Like it was like, oh my God. Shout out to Malik Pendleton. Like he did what needed to be done on this. Like he really did. And this was the first song where it was like, Share My Word. I just want to sing along with her. That was the feeling record. This was the song where I wanted to learn the words.
Yeah,
You know
you
what I'm
wanted to know
saying?
the
Like I
story. You
wanted
wanted
to
to be able to
learn
tell
the
the story.
words.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? She was like Monday, a friend of mine, Tuesday, and all that. But it's that second verse.
Wednesday.
Yes, when she said, "I never thought we would be together. How can I address you?
Just you.
Hey, lover,
Hey,
Hey,
hot
lover,
lover,
friend,
hot
how you
friend, how
friend.
doing?
you
Where you
doing?
Where
been?
you been?
I
I
got a
gotta
man,
make a chart." I was like, "Who?"
my
And that said, I
name.
don't know what the fuck Mary talk about. I'm like, I don't know what she mean by that, but I'm feeling it. Well, I'm like, okay, I gotta listen. I gotta get these words. And mind you, I had the bootleg, y'all, so you know I ain't getting no line of notes. So I was sitting there, sitting there with my
You,
pen, rewinding like, eh.
and you know,
And
I'm all about a
then,
remix. And like that 7 Days remix where she added that verse, don't claim your
Don't
ass is
claim your
ready
ass is ready when
when
you're
you're not.
not. Yeah.
That was just like,
Woo!
so it's
and you
almost
know,
like I don't listen to the original version that much because I
Me
always want to hear
either.
that don't claim your ass is ready.
Yes. Ooh.
but see, y'all wanted to hear that, but I wanted to hear the original because I wanted to hear the George Benson stuff. And
Yeah.
on that
Ah.
other version, they didn't put that George Benson stuff. But I was an old lady. I want to hear that. But
I think I might have a version with the George Benson on it. That's the remix.
really,
Maybe I'm tripping, but I'll have to look at my
maybe.
yeah, because I think
And I can only
because
go
people
by what
because
they
I
played
used to
on the
hear that
radio
dooby
here.
doo dooby doo. Is that what you're talking about? When yeah, I like my dooby 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 doo and my don't claim your ass already at the same time. So I think I'm gonna check as soon as we're done. I'm gonna check.
Trust me, the
Please
last thing.
do,
And
because
when she
I would love
performed
to
it
hear.
on, and she, huh?
I said, no, send that. I would love to hear it because
Don't
my context, I can only go by what
The
the radio
radio.
DJs got here
Mm-hmm.
and which one of my friends happened to have a bootleg of whatever. So I would love to hear that.
because I'm a dooby dooby doo, Benson. So yeah. So I'm sorry, I keep
I
interrupting. You were saying something about the performance. Are you gonna say the RuPaul
yes, I
performance?
love when she was on Chris Rock, and I put
Okay.
that up on my. Mary was mad, and I don't know who she was because obviously she wrote that verse because she didn't write anything in the original version. That remix, I'm like, Mary, who was you talking to?
That was something very specific.
That was
And you
very
know what it was?
specific.
And that was
Wildly.
giving us a little bit of that reminder of that my life flavor. Like you get a sense of my life that she just came in out of the studio and whatever was pissing her off, whatever was on her mind, she was saying on the fairy track right then and there, and that was it. And that's what gives that immediacy to my life. And you get the same feeling with that "Don't Claim Your Ass Is Ready" verse on the remix.
And that's what I thought. I was
Tonight,
like, is that KC or was it Case?
oh, somebody
I
else.
think it might have been somebody else. I'm not going to start any rumors up here, so I'm not. I'm going to keep that quiet. But I believe.
Well, it could be. Yes.
I ain't gonna say, I don't say nothing
But
bad
wasn't
about
she
Miss
also
Jenkins.
involved with the producer?
Malik.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they were involved, right?
Yep.
So the worst thing you could do is talk shit off to somebody on their own track, right?
Right, right.
So I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying that that's
That
the scenario.
could have
I
been,
hope,
because it was
I
very
hope,
direct.
I hope that's what happened because I expect the fuck out that.
Because at least how you do some shit like that, though. You
Yeah,
would. You would. You gangster
And he
like
couldn't
that,
do a
yo.
damn thing about it. Like artists can remix whatever they want. And she performed the hell out of that song, out of that remix. That might have been her most performed remix. Because she did the Chris Rock, she did it on RuPaul,
She did on
she
the
did it,
tour.
she did it on the tour,
Yep.
yeah, and she did it
sure did.
on maybe Lady of Soul or something like that, or
Did
Soul Train,
she?
something. I think she did it, but she clearly had a message that she was trying to convey to somebody,
Yeah, she was. Because
and
I
it was not, and
know.
she didn't get it off her spirit just that one time on the record. She needed to let it be known in
Yes,
multiple
she
places,
did.
across multiple platforms. Don't
And she
claim your
was
ass
letting
is
that nigga
ready.
know, trust me, the last thing you want to do is make me lose my cool.
She did say that.
And it doesn't sound like something, sometimes remixes, maybe like the remix was done around the album time, but they chose a different version for the album. That felt really fresh. That felt like something. I remember the first time I heard it on the radio, like my ears were burned. Like it almost felt like it was coming right from her mouth, right into the radio,
I,
right
I
into the
remember
thing.
hearing it when Angie and them played it when they used to have ladies' night. with
Yeah,
Coco Chanel and her, and they played that.
that was a
And
hot
I
show.
remember me and my mother was like, well, whoa. Like, we was like, who Mary mad at? Like, we was like, well, Jesus. Like, it sounded very direct. That's why I was like you said,
And
it was giving the
fresh.
My Life flavor. It was like,
Yeah,
because we
Yeah.
know who she was talking to on that whole record. So it was
right.
like, who is she talking to on this? Like, oh, Mary, you mad, girl?
That
Like,
wasn't no old wound. Old wound sound different. This was
They
like a
do.
telephone conversation. It sounded like somebody just rang up and, well, don't okay.
and
That
y'all go
shit,
watch that. You go watch that Chris Rock performance. She was angry.
yeah,
I'm
Watch
gonna
that
it.
watch
was
it after this.
that was
I'm gonna write it
fresh.
down.
Very much fresh. And I put that, I done posted that on my Twitter and my Instagram so many times, and I'll be like, y'all, Mary was mad.
I haven't seen it on your
Like,
Twitter.
You
I'm
do.
not on it anymore, but Chris
oh man,
Rock
but yes,
performance.
yes. 7 days is
But do you
that.
like the RuPaul performance? See, every time I mention the RuPaul performance, you're just like,
I
no.
like, no, I do.
Oh, okay, okay,
Oh, I
okay.
do.
You
I
just
do.
think she was particularly mad on the Chris Rock
Yeah, the
performance.
Chris Rock, you could tell
Okay.
she was pissed. I think when she was on RuPaul, she was having fun.
Make
So
it
it
nice.
was
Yeah,
a
that's true.
difference on
That's
how
true.
she performed the record.
Different
On Chris
dynamic.
Rock,
Yeah, I
she
got you.
gave you raw, like, nigga, I don't fuck with you. That's what kind of shit she gave. RuPaul, it was like, yeah, I don't like you, but whatever. Like, that's what she
Yeah.
gave, like, to me.
And
You know what
maybe
I
it's
mean?
one of those things that it was fresh when she did it, but people liked it so much that that's why she kept performing it. Maybe it's not
Yeah,
as
yeah.
deep as we're making it out to be, because
Right.
like I said, I can't hear the song without wanting to hear that particular
Me
part.
too. Me too. Like when I
Even
was
though I
playing it,
love the song originally.
when I was playing it to work today, and it got to the second verse, I was like, I turned it down. Don't claim it. I did that whole thing, and then I turned it up after I came to the. I gotta
See,
hear
that's
it.
I'm not sure if I said this during the official show or not, but that's why I was so excited when Universal originally had plans to re-release a deluxe Share My World, because it would finally give us the different versions that we like and all of that kind of stuff. So unfortunately that didn't happen, but I was so excited when that, because I mean I have all of the radio promos and all that kind of stuff, but I know most people don't. And it kind of, I think it distorts our musical history, which I know you all are so it's so important to you, because
Yeah.
like kids nowadays, you tell them 7 days and that's fine, but the album version is just part of the story. If you don't know how much extra invested we got when she added that other layer to it, then that's just, it's not the full story. It's like, you're watching a series and you're missing an episode of the series. It's just, and
Right.
I kind of
Mhm.
really don't like that incompleteness. And it often happens with regards to remixes, because I think a lot of times remixes made us fall deeper in love, even with the original version. But if you're looking back in historical context, if you don't have the understanding of the remix, you don't know why we were so invested in the song
Yeah.
for such a long period of time. So
Right. I agree.
And that's
that's my
why I
little
always
crusade.
That's why I always appreciate that we have the documentation of when Mary put out the What's the 401 remix album, because like you can always get to it. It has all these
Yeah, no,
different
that was so
things,
good.
and
Yeah.
yeah, it adds more, like you said, more context to the story.
Yeah.
Because like I
Yep.
don't like to hear real love without the big verse. It's just me.
Agreed.
I always want to hear the big verse. So.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. I agree.
Oh, you're not alone on that boat.
Yes,
You got
absolutely.
friends on that boat.
Yes, yes. Okay. Oh, shout out to Mary Brown. I gotta shout her out too, because she's on the backgrounds of on 7 days. Her and Malik. So so shout out to them. We get to It's On. Ugh.
You know what? I didn't like it in
Anyway,
the time. So this is not
I
even
didn't
my
either.
bias of whatever. But I didn't like it in the time.
You
Which is
know, it
weird because I mean, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, it felt a little short to me, and I'm not gonna lie, because I was anticipating for him and Mary to work with each other. I was, because I was looking at them as they were the king and the queens of the lanes they were in. And it kind of had them together a little bit, because he was in the hip hop lane as well, and Mary was too. So it was like they were kind of running this lane as the man and female. So I was like, okay, good. They're going to get together and do this record. When it came on, I was like, okay. It wasn't like, oh my God, I was completely floored of it, but I was like, all right, it's
Mhm.
on tonight. Okay. I was like, all right, Mary sounds great. I was like, cool. And
Yeah.
that was just it.
And the reason I didn't like it in the time, it just was one note to me. It
Hmm.
didn't really have a defined bridge the way that I want to bridge. So
Mm-hmm.
I just thought the song was just boring to me in the time. It was always a skip for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah,
like drag and this
it's
song
just
and this
weird
song
because
and this song. It drags, and I don't like no dragging ass song, so I ain't like
Right,
it.
right, right.
he has so many good songs. Like there's just writing, like all the stuff he did for Tony Braxton and stuff. It just seemed like a very weak.
Yeah,
And there's something about like getting superstars performing on a weak song that makes it worse than if a weak singer was singing a weak song. You know what I mean? Like there's something
I
that makes
got you.
it just because it just you just think about the waste of talent, time and talent. It's like, well, I do know people that do love that song,
Yeah, I
but
do too.
yeah, it just never registered at all for me, even from day one. And I remember, since we're on a sister sister theme, I remember Jamie Foster Brown printed how much the track costs, and I forget exactly how much it cost, but she was in an interview with Mary. She was like, "Was it really worth paying some $1,000 for this track? That's the cost of a whole house." You know,
Wow.
people think the internet's rough. Print was pretty rough back in the day too.
Yes. Yeah.
But again,
they talking
it
shit.
it goes back to us talking about like the fact that Share My World really was a corporate product. It
Right.
transcends that, but the business people at MCA really needed to put this together in something that made sense on paper more than it made sense musically necessarily. So it wasn't important, just like we were talking about Love Is All We Need had to be the first single, wasn't necessarily the hardest hitting thing, but that would make sense corporate wise. At the time, just like you were saying, it makes sense to say, oh, Mary J. Blige with R. Kelly, let's do a duet. It didn't, of all the songs, the great songs that were cut off of that album, if we were talking about in terms of like weakest songs, that would easily be a song that could have been cut off the album to make room for A Dream, or like
Don't walk
Paradise
away.
Die, or whatever, Don't Walk Away. But
Oh
obviously they weren't going to do that because in terms of the corporate packaging, R.
God.
Kelly,
You
Mary J.
know,
Blige, that makes sense.
and
You're
you know
making
what?
me really oh God, Craig. You got my mind going, but go ahead.
And really, he should have. R. Kelly should have gave the song that he gave for Biggie. That should have been the song that him and Mary. You must be used. That shit would have. And just rework a few
Mary
little
would have killed
lyrics.
that, yeah.
That shit would
Mary
have
would have
been
ate that. She would have
fucking
ate that. She would have ate
bananas.
that.
And I actually
Yeah.
like the clean version of that too, because they used to play the clean version of that on the
Yeah.
Oh
radio all the
yeah.
time. And
Yeah.
I don't mind the clean version of that. You know,
Yeah. I
I
think
that
Mary
like,
would have ate
I
that.
prefer the clean version to the
yeah.
Yeah,
you
me
have some
too.
remixes. I mean not remixes, but you hear the clean version like, well that kind of actually flows better.
Yeah, it really did. I have the whole they did a probably just right over there. They did a whole release of the Biggie that wasn't all of the songs, but it was just like maybe four or five of the songs from Life After Death on the clean versions that they actually produced, not just taking the words out, but they actually produced like the I'm Loving You Tonight. And I cherish that because it's like just hearing him flow in a different way. Just like I
Yeah.
love the one of the clean versions of Get Money, I really like because of the way that he flips up Kim's verse just a little bit, but it's clear, clever. So
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, so we get into another interlude, y'all. Thank you, Lord. I was like,
that
Mary
was
gave us
Kelly
that
Price.
on My Life, so I got it. I was like, okay, cool. Kelly Price did this one. Rodney Jerkins did this one. I always wanted to know if this was a full record. I always wanted to know if this was a full record that Kelly Price did and they just cut it. You know what I mean? Like, I always wanted to ask that. So, Rodney or
And that's
Kelly
on the
Price, if y'all
tour
ever
too,
see
right?
this, was it? Huh?
I said that's on the tour too, right? Didn't she do Thank You Lord on the tour?
Yes. Yes, she did.
Okay.
How she
Because I
came
think I
into,
had to
yes. Yes, she did. Yeah, 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 it was. It was.
because I think I had the same at the time. I think I had the same question that you had about whether or not it was a longer song. But then when she did it live and it wasn't longer, I figured maybe it wasn't anything more than
Maybe it
interlude, or else
wasn't.
she could have done it. She could have filled it out live. So I think, see, you're bringing back a lot of the questions that I had initially when I listened to the album, and now I'm kind of remembering why I had that question at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we get to Missing You. Babyface works with her. I'm gonna be honest. In the beginning, I wasn't here for it. Was not. This was one of the ones where I was like, but then when I heard her do it on the tour, I was like, okay, why couldn't we get that on this? But now, Craig, the way you're making it seem, this album was very corporate. Very. It was very corporate. So now it was like they had to kind of thin some things out. You know what I'm saying? Like some stuff had to be thinned. And this was, see, I like when Mary does this live. That's when
Yes.
she takes it somewhere. Like when
She
she
does.
did it on the Soul Train Awards, the Lady of Soul, and that, I'm like, I love that. But then when my dad died, it took on a different meaning for me because that was the first record that me and my mom walked into the house because he was the last one there. And we walked in, and the Share My World CD was in our CD player, and we just turned it on, and mom went right to Missing You, and me and her just
Mm.
bawled. You know what I mean? So now the song took on this version took on a different meaning for me. But in the beginning, I used to be like, oh, I was like, Babyface. You know what I felt like, Elise? I felt just like how y'all felt when y'all gave Faith all of that static on Kissing You on Waiting to Exhale. That's how I felt. Don't. And that's how I felt on this. I was just like, oh, Mary. But I was like, okay, uh, whatever. So now it took on a different meaning for me. But yeah, so that's why I love it now.
Yeah, but and I can always appreciate like connecting to a song over a moment, especially something that enormous, right?
Right, right,
Um,
right.
but all that aside, that that sounds like the bowl of rice that's kind of dry in the fridge, and then but the live is like somebody put a little water in it, put it back in the pot for a minute, threw it in the microwave with a paper towel over it, and then put some gravy on it on top of that. The
Right.
smoked thick gravy with onions and shit in it. So, like, yes, I'm with you. Like, the live version is so much better because that album version, I just cannot. I cannot. I never listened to it all the way through. I don't like it.
Yeah, I think they were chasing, even though it never was actually released as a single, I think they were just chasing Not Gonna Cry and just trying to do a Not Gonna Cry too
With
in terms of the
Babyface, yeah.
production and the sound with Babyface and everything like
Yeah.
that. But like so much of my experience of Share My World is seeing Share My World and the tour like as a combined package. And
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
because yeah, I don't Missing You, I just can't even conceive of the song outside of the tour version. I mean, that's just
Yeah.
that's the version of the song to me. Just like when I think "Not Gonna Cry," the version of it for me is like the Eric Clapton performance or something like that. You know, it's like I don't really even think of the. Um, I don't generally turn off "Not Gonna Cry" if it's on the radio, but I was like, I don't go out of my way to play it. It's just the same thing. Like I might let "Missing You" play, but if I get that feeling like, oh, I want to hear "Missing You," the only version I actually want to hear is the version from the tour.
Yeah.
Right.
And what I will give the song, I'll give it a lot of fever, but I had no problem with the production. I had no problem with the lyrics. I think it's very well written. I like the lyrics. The lyrics do definitely resonate with me, like big time. It's the arrangement on the album version, and that's why we love the
The
tour one
tour.
so much
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the arrangement and the grit, that part of it. But I never had a problem with the production or the lyrics. I really love the lyrics of this song. Like that part resonates.
Mm.
Is that Shantae? Is like Shantae Moore or Shanice Wilson on that? Like who's the
Shanice.
background vocals? That
Shanice,
Shanice
yeah.
is on
Shanice.
that. Okay.
Yep. Shanice is
hmm
on it. Yeah.
hmm
That was Babyface go-to right there.
She was, she
For
was
real,
on
Shanice
everything.
and Shantae.
He was paying
She
a
like,
couple of
come here,
their
girl.
bills,
Come here,
right?
girl. I need you. Come here. Like, come here.
They was
But
kicking off
I
behind
don't
us.
think, but Shanice doesn't have a Babyface song, does she? Like on her Motown albums, I don't think she has one, even one Babyface song.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
That's weird.
Yes. After all the background she did for him.
Yeah, I remember we was talking about she on backgrounds of Wake They Sell, but it was like there's a song with somebody that sound like her, and but she's
Shauna.
not on it. If she'd have been on it, it would have stratosphere.
Out of there. Out of there.
But
Out
she
of
all
there.
over the backgrounds of that mug though.
Now, see, if I was, and this is all off topic and stuff like that, but for me, if I was doing that many backgrounds, at some point I would say, look, I'm going to do this session for free. Just give me one song. Just put me on one demo or something like that. Kind of try to use it like that. And I'm not saying she didn't try to do that, but it just seems wild to me that all of Shanice's career that she doesn't have one Babyface song, but she's all over the Babyface song.
Right, 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 right. All
Trying to
Right.
right.
demo them all.
So
Yeah.
we get to everything.
You see, that's the one you don't like, JR. And you know that I really, really like this. See?
I only like the tour version. That's it.
Um,
I'm not, and it hurts me because it's Jam and Lewis. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, I, they are like in my top. And when they work with my fave, it wasn't songs that I was just blown out the water with. You know what I'm
But can
saying?
I
So
ask you
that,
one question? Though? Can I ask you one question? Do you like the video?
yes, on
Okay.
mute.
Oh shit! You ain't have to add that part. Only reason
I'm
I'm
just
saying
being
that because
shady. I'm just being shady. I'm just being shady.
the reason I'm saying that is because I love the tour version the best, and that's why I said I see Share My World and the tour like the same. Like the
Yes.
tour version the best, but the video made me appreciate the album version of the song more. Like I wasn't that into the song when I heard it when I was just playing the CD initially,
Yeah.
but then when I saw the video,
But
then when I would play the album, could be more into the song than I was before.
you know what's so crazy? Because I love the So So Def remix though.
Oh yeah, I love that too. Yeah.
I love that.
ain't that the one I hate?
Yes.
I
Hate it.
hate.
With the
Yeah,
video with
you do.
all the heads and the spaceship and stuff.
Oh, that video, I hate it. I hate that video. I
Yeah,
hate it.
that's so funny. Y'all are like lukewarm or like about the original. I love the original. Y'all love the remix, and I do not enjoy it, and especially not the video. But I don't enjoy it at
Oh,
all.
yeah, yeah. Oh, Lisa, you let that be known because I remember we were here and you remember because that day we was going through the Whitney joints. Woo! And then, and we was going through the Mary joints. And I was like, we went to the Everything remix and I was going off and you was kind of like, mm.
But I want to hear
Like,
why you like the album version so much because I do like it. I'm not lukewarm on it. It's just I'm I'm not saying I was lukewarm on it. It just took me a time to grow into liking the
Okay.
album version, and that growth was helped by the video. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but yeah, that remix can kick rocks. But now I remember JR.
Y'all will always
Because
add a negative.
I know we ain't shit,
We
but
get moved on
remember
from the video.
right, right, Craig, we
From
ain't.
the
But go ahead.
No, I remember the first time we encountered that song because you wanted to play it on the radio show, and I told you hell to the no.
Yes. Yeah.
I said pick another one, pick
You
another
sure
one.
did. Yes. You
So
sure did.
that was our first encounter
When I
of
realized she didn't like
everything.
the record because I wanted to play it on the radio show and she said, you will not.
Not on my watch.
And again, I think Mary sounds great on it. It's just everything was
Mhm.
fine with it. It just
It just
it was just
didn't.
one of them. And maybe it was leaning over to after missing you. I was kind of there, and I didn't. I was kind of like, So then when you got the, it was just like, okay. I'm like, all right, where are we going? Where are we going here? And then it was like, it's I was like, okay, she's using the samples, okay, the
The
payback
jacket,
sample from James,
yeah,
the
and the jacket.
stylistics. I'm like, cool. You got what's his name? R.I.P. to Jim Wright playing the keys, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Jim
he was
Ray.
doing the keys. So I was like, I get it. And I'm like, I'm supposed to like really love this record. Why is it not hitting me like this? I was like, but then when
Maybe
she
if
did
you'd
it on
watched
the
the video with the
tour,
sound on, you would like it more.
so then when she did it on the tour, I was like,
Oh
oh,
yeah,
I was
yeah,
like, Mary, yes. And then, she was just, and then that breakdown she did on the tour, I was just like, I like this. I was like, I'm rocking with this. So
she
yes,
does the you. That's no, that's
yes, that,
the first time I think I saw that live, her do that live before the tour album came out, and the first time when she
oh,
just started breaking that down to and in the concert, it was just like,
yes, yes. But Jimmy Jam, I love Jam Lewis. Y'all know we love you, but yeah,
Mhm.
so
in a way, I think they might have been a little bit not intimidated by Mary, but it's like, a lot of that's the way love goes and stuff. That was influenced by Mary and their use of samples and everything like that. And then cut to a few years later, and they're actually working with Mary, who had kind of recently inspired their sound. So I'm not sure they really had a vision for what they could do with her because they really just wanted her to be her. You know what I mean? So I think what it really took to sort of jam and Lewisify her was like the love I never had,
good God,
which
yes. Woo!
which was done for this album. So it's
Yes!
kind of weird. So it's like I think imagine if love is all we need was replaced by that. And I wouldn't want to take it off Mary, mind you, but I'm just saying, like, I think if you look in terms of the work that she did with Jam and Lewis during this time, you are actually really pleased with it because you really love some of the work that they did during these sessions. It just
Right.
so happens that the work that came out on this particular album from those sessions you didn't like.
Right.
You know
Because
what I
it was,
mean?
yeah, because it was just like when I found out the love I never had was done to the one thing about Jam and Lewis, what I loved about them is that they always gave an artist their own sound. And I don't think on this album they gave Mary a sound. Like y'all just said, like when we talked about Love Is All We Need, it sounded like the Trackmasters. It didn't
Right.
sound like Jam and Lewis. It sounded like them. And this record, I didn't get Jam and Lewis from this. I really didn't. I was just like, okay. And when I found out it was them, I was like, oh, okay, they did this. Okay. But then when you get to the Love I Never Had, I was like, now that's Jam and Lewis right there. Now that's them. Now they gave Mary a sound to me with that record. And
Yeah. I
woo,
don't I
woo,
don't mean to keep bringing this back to the industry and stuff, but this was if you think about it in terms of Jam and Lewis's career, in the 80s, they were doing whole sides for people, like whole Sherelle sides, whole SOS band
ballads.
sides. So it's easy to create a side when you have that many songs and you have control of the sequencing and everything like that. And then, of course, with Janet, they started having these whole albums. But by the time you started getting into the 90s and the late 90s, labels weren't giving producers whole, 5 or 6, all of that kind of stuff. They were only giving people a couple of songs, even the biggest producers, the Babyface and you were getting like 2 songs, 3 songs an album, top. And I think that in a way that kind of weakened their ability to craft a specific sound for an artist because they just didn't have that much control. They didn't have that much time in the studio. They didn't have that many songs to kind of create something. So it was just a lot of I think they have a lot of great production moments in that time period. But I think the reason why we look back to their 80s stuff as being so rich is because that's when they really had a lot of songs to craft a sound for an artist, not just a song here and there. Because Jam and Lewis, let's face it, they're not like, an album can have one Babyface song on it, and if that's a good Babyface song on it, then that's fine, that's enough. But Jam and Lewis were never really like that about individual songs. They were really more creating a whole sound and
Body of
environment
work.
for somebody. And you
Yeah.
just can't do that when you're only given two or three songs and you have no control over how it's sequenced and everything like that.
Come on, Craig. Come on. You better take up for my boys. Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Perfect. Perfect. Perfect sense. Perfect sense.
Yeah,
Okay. So we
thanks.
get to keep your head. Keep your head.
I love this one. I'm
I
just
love
I
this
can be
record. Oh, I love it.
okay,
It's a
fine.
gem. It's a gem. It's a gem to me. This is to me her My Life song part two.
Yeah.
This is this is what this is. You know what I mean? And it's just Mary again. It's just you're taking a ride on how she feels, and that's what she
Yeah.
did with the My Life record. And she just telling you keep your head to the sky, yo. I don't need to tell you why. Like I'm every day's a struggle. I'm struggling to be like she's letting you know like I'm in it with you. So let's go through this together. And I loved it, man. I love this record. I was like, this is a gem to me on the
So this
album.
the
One
first
of
is
the
this the
gems.
first song we all agreed on right off the bat? Kind of
Right.
convincing. That's wild.
Yes.
What track are we on to now?
We
We
on
halfway through
12.
the album. Oh, okay, we're more than
Yeah.
halfway through the
And
record.
on the song, I do love her vocal, and it's a lot of gravelly things happening, but it fits in the parts of the song where it kind of does that. So I just really, um, yeah, I enjoy this song. I feel like she's singing from the good. Like
Mhm.
I believe her.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I
I
really
agree.
believe
But I
her.
think, Jared, like to your point though, I think it is like a continuation of My Life, but like you were expecting a little bit of an elevation. I do think that there's more of a conventional song structure to it than some of the songs on My Life. So if you were, so she is kind of just in terms of the craft of songwriting, she is showing that she can sort of take her raw feelings and craft a more traditional song around it. So I think that definitely shows some growth there.
Yeah, and I think Hank, was like, look, we need a feeling of that. You know what I'm saying? We
Mm-hmm.
need to have. I always say this when an artist come out with a new album, still give us something familiar. You know what I mean? And this Keep Your Head gives us something familiar from Mary. It's very My Life ish, but like you said,
Yeah.
on a commercial type of production. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's just
Mm-hmm.
that. So it's like, okay, all right. So I love it. I love it. It's a gem for me. I love it. I love it. Actually, the rest of the album I'm good with. Well, no. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So we get
Mhm.
can't get you
I'm
off my
like,
mind. I'm like, I'm neither here or there with it. I'm like,
yeah, I think that you can again, going back to that corporate thing, you can understand why they would think it was work. Oh yeah, it's a catchy song. It's nice. It has a beat. It checked all the boxes, but it
uh,
just doesn't have much fire to it.
at least nothing.
It's another nothing one. It is the song doesn't offend me, but it don't move me either.
If it came on your shuffle right as soon as the
Yeah.
show's over, you're gonna play it or you're
But
gonna
it's
skip.
but it's real
I'm gonna play it.
borderline to me not liking it at all. But it's kind of just it's just nondescript. Like it's just nothing. It's nothing that stands out about it. It's a
Yeah,
song.
it's not a standout joint. No,
You
no.
know,
But
it's a
it's weird
refill.
with this.
Go refill your drink, but you don't. But you're not running over to skip it either.
Right,
Okay.
right, right,
I
right.
think it's all of us are people with very strong opinions, obviously, right?
Oh yes.
I've
I
never had
think
an
it's
opinion in
so
my whole life.
I think it's so interesting that there's so many tracks on this album that we're all neutral about. And in a way, I think that has to speak to some sort of quality in the production and stuff like that, because the second we see a real flaw in something, we're on it and stuff like that. And I just think it's such an interesting phenomenon that there are a lot of these tracks that we've been like, take it or leave it, but not and there's not a lot of music by people that I really love that I feel like that about. Like usually like you take like a Luther song or a Shaka song, it's like either I love it or I hate it. There's not anything I'm neutral about in their entire discography. But it's weird that Mary, who I love as much, has this album of all these things that I'm kind of neutral about, and it's I don't know, I don't not trying to say anything specific with that. I just think it's kind of curious.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. I get it. I
That's
get
very
it.
interesting. Yeah. And
Now,
you don't use it with Barry albums because I mean, it's pretty polarizing. Like with Barry, usually with Mary songs specifically, I either love them or I hate. I'm not lukewarm on a lot of her stuff except on this album. I'm like lukewarm. Well, her other albums, I either love it or I like fucking throw it in the
Just
trash. And it's the same with my other favorite artists. Like I'm not
yeah,
Mary's
yeah,
a favorite
yeah.
artist of mine. Like I know sometimes it may seem like I'm not, but you know, sometimes you had a cousin that you argue with, and that's my relationship with her music. But I love her and I love it. You know.
I wonder if it's because it came out at a time when we were all rooting for her. So it's like when we, you know, like there are some Mary albums, like later albums that I just kind of can't stand the whole thing or like most of it or whatever. But like this came out at such a vulnerable time in her career and when everybody was kind of
Yes.
rooting for her and stuff. I wonder if that's why we don't have like hostile feelings toward it because we really relate to what she had to do in order to establish
Right.
her career. And we're just like, this, whatever. You had to sing this mess. It's not that bad, I guess. You know
Yeah,
what I
it's
mean?
like we wanted Mary to win because
At that
everything
time, yeah.
everything that you heard and all the rumors and everything behind her, it was like, nah, yo, we want Mary to win. Like, so it's like, no, we rock with this album no matter what. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I
So
think
if
a
it
lot
wasn't
of people was
awful,
like
we're
that.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So I think that's what it is. You know what I mean? But ugh. Whew. Which one are we on? We on track for, oh, we on 14. Get to Know You Better. This is my favorite song on the album.
Really?
Yes.
Well, you
Yes.
can't just say that and then stop talking. You need
No,
to
no, no. I'm not
explain
getting back. No, no,
yourself.
no. This is my favorite song of the album. I love this record. I love it. It's the thickness of it for me. I love the bass. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Daryl Brown that played the bass on this. Like it just it's very to me the way he's playing is very Raphael Sadiq-ish, Curtis Mayfield-ish. You know what I mean? And I just love just the way Mary's singing on it. And then when she does the Stevie, because you know Mary love her some Stevie, and she does the My Sherry Amore, and it just to me, I just love her on this record, and it says everything that I want to say when you want to get to know somebody better. And it gave me that feeling when I first heard it. When I first heard the album, I still have that feeling now when I listen to it, and it just brings me somewhere, and I'll just be like, "Oh my god, I love this record!" So shout out to what's the dude from Bryce Wilson? He did this record, so
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So I love it. This is
Mhm.
my favorite joint on the album. I love this one.
Wow.
Yes,
Over I Can Love You?
yes, I do.
Oh,
Yes,
7 days?
yep.
Huh? That's not shade. I'm just curious. I do enjoy the song a lot.
It just
So
doesn't.
I'm not being funny.
Oh yeah,
I'm just curious.
I know. Craig is like,
Because
I
I
can
know how
love
much
you.
you love 7 days. That's why I'm shocked. Okay.
Yes, yes.
But but
I think
but
even
me
my
and
own
you have
mama
never,
was shocked.
yeah.
She was
Me and
shocked
you
too.
have never had an in-depth personal conversation about this album because of how I feel about the album. And
Yes,
so
yes.
we kind of just avoid each other on it about it.
Yeah, yeah, yes.
So I started, so y'all gonna blame everything on me, right? Like, we would have never talked about this album if it wasn't been for
We love
Craig
this
nosy
though,
ass
Yeah.
had to talk
It
about Share My World.
it
because
be
we
young
never was gonna
people.
discuss it, Craig. That's why I remember when you hit me. I said, "Let me ask Elise."
I don't think that was weird. I thought it just seemed so kind of cryptic. I was just like, because it wasn't like, we're gonna I don't know, it just seemed I don't know, it seemed like there was more to the story, and I was just like, okay, you know.
Yes,
Mhm.
it just I knew how she felt about some of the songs for real. And then we kind of talked about it a lot on the Mary album when we did it.
Oh, I
So
see.
it was
Okay.
kind of like, oh, I was like, all right.
Do we
And then
revisit?
also,
Right.
and then one thing about at least, and we love what I love about what we do too, even if it's an album that we don't like or songs that we don't like, we're not coming in it like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're not gonna come in it like that and do no bashing and all that. We're gonna be honest, but we don't bash it. And like Elise said, it's just songs that just didn't hit her. And she's
Yeah.
giving you a reason why. So, you know
Well,
what
I
I'm
can't
saying?
wait to hear
So
this
y'all
opinion.
stupid ass
Yeah.
fans is gonna come in here with the bullshit. Please don't, because it's dumb. But at the end of the day, it's just
I'm gonna delete it. I'm gonna delete it anyway. I'm the
that
moderator.
Y'all
part.
get Stan mess?
And do
Oh yeah, yes.
especially when it comes to Mary, Janet,
Mariah,
or and
Mariah.
Mariah.
Oh
And with the Janet and Mariah, we didn't even say one bad thing.
no, we did
That's
not.
wild. That's some stand shit. We ain't even bash nothing.
Yeah.
That's bad. They find a way, like they want you to say something mean so they can. Like, child, I'm a middle-aged black woman. I'm just gonna delete it. I ain't going back and forth, baby.
Yeah,
But
I'm
it was
not doing
good.
that. I'm not doing that no more. You know what, Craig? Craig, actually, it was you when they were that them stands that was going at you. Do you remember when you brought out that Janet had the Vogue joint first?
Oh yeah. No, I remember that.
Yes,
Yeah.
and
I
the
tend to forget the
Madonna
trauma, but
stands were coming. That was the moment where I said, I'm not arguing with none of them no more. Because then I tried to come in, I was like, Craig, I agree. I used to say this. And
but you
then a
know,
couple of Madonna fans like, you don't know what you talk about. She had it. I was like, I'm done. I'm not arguing with stands anymore. I'm done with that. Like, no.
I don't know. I don't know if this is gonna come across. I'm just gonna say it anyway. But those like white Madonna stands, like I don't even care. But that's why I don't even remember it. You know, it's different to me. The stuff that Reg, I don't. It's different to me. Like when somebody's arguing about like something like a Mary or something like that, or like a Janet, something I really care about or something like that. But these just random pop stands and stuff like that. Please.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, I'm not, I ain't got time. But again, that's what we do. So I knew that's why I was like, let me ask Elise first, because normally when
Yeah.
anybody pick an album, I'm like, okay, whatever. But I kind of knew what she felt on it. So I was like, and then Elise was like, it's Craig. I don't care. Like, she was like, it don't matter to me. She was like, I'm not gonna come in. I'm gonna be honest and truthful. But I was like, let me just ask her to see
So you
which
were thinking
way.
that I love this album, that I wanted to
Yeah, so it was
share
just
my
like because it's
world.
my third favorite Mary album for me, so I go in on it. You know what I'm
What's the
saying?
top two?
So I know that she doesn't, and I was just like,
Right.
oh, and then I was like, Craig, what
JR,
to talk about? What?
Craig said, "What's your top two?"
Oh,
You
My
can't just
Life
say
and
third
Mary,
and not what's that?
My Life and Mary.
Okay.
Yep,
That's a good top three.
and then it's Share My World. Yep.
Okay.
But yes, Get to Know You Better. I love this record. I love it. Sorry,
Yeah,
I
I
love it.
love it. I love it also. I love it
Yeah,
also.
yeah, yeah.
I like it. I don't have anything against the song. It's not one that I play a lot, independently of anything. But again, I don't have it. It's not. I don't feel neutral about it like the way I feel neutral about "Love Is All We Need." I mean, I like the song. It's just that it's not. Maybe I never listened to it that much or something. Like maybe I just didn't. It just didn't hit or something like that. But I don't have anything against the song, and I like it.
Mm-hmm. Cool, cool, cool. We get to Searching.
I love that.
I love it.
Okay.
Roy
Are we all
Ayers.
in agreement?
Yeah,
Roy
I
Ayers, you
love it.
can't.
And me and Elise lost it when she did it at the Roots picnic
We did.
because
We
because
did.
yes. So
I don't think I've
because
ever heard her sing do that.
yes, so when she did it, me and Elise looked at each other. We was like, "Is she doing Searching? What?" Like, we was like, "Whoa!" And Mary don't change her set list.
And see the reason why we got this a very cool ass different set list for Mary because Questlove was the MD.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
you got some shit from shit that he wanted to fucking hear, which usually
Yeah.
lines up with what the fuck I want to hear.
Well, that sounds great. Well, y'all really
Generally.
had a treat. Is that
forefront,
online or
you
anything?
know.
Did y'all do video for that or anything?
They got it online.
Oh,
Like
okay.
her doing searching. I
I'm
can
gonna
send
write
it to
this
you,
down.
Greg.
Okay, send it to me, please.
Okay, I will.
And
I
I'm
will. And
so glad that that set list was right because I had to hear these fucking what 5 of y'all men complain for hours and hours about and argue about what the set list was gonna be, what it was not gonna be, and then I cussed all y'all out at the roots because I was sick of y'all. And when she came out, I was like, "Y'all happy? Yeah."
I don't
Mhm.
want to fuss and fight. I just want to make it right. What do we got to be strong? I'm just trying to get along. I'm not trying to preach to you, but I'm still searching too.
To me,
I,
this kind of follows up the keep your head vibe too. Like I think
Yes,
in kind of
yes,
continuing from my life, that's what I like about those. Why I love those two songs so much.
yes, yes.
I
And they,
was sick of
I'm
y'all.
you were, but
Thank you. Thank you.
you were.
And I
I ain't even
went
gonna
off.
lie. She was sick of us because it was like all day. We was like, oh, please, can we get something different, please? And when we did, that's when we walking out. Elise was like, "Well, y'all satisfied? Are y'all good now?"
Are you going to go to the new tour, the For Your Fans tour?
I don't know.
Well, your body language said all I
Jay,
needed to know.
but Jay,
It's
I
not a
always do
priority.
that. Jay, I do that. Don't listen to him. The truth
He's
ain't
gonna
in
be
him
like at
right
the
now.
last minute.
He always, he
It
do that. He said that about Beyonce. He said that about a bunch of people, and his ass was right in them seats. So it was cute. And I know you kind of throwing a tantrum, and that's okay because I want you to feel your feelings. But I don't believe nothing that you're saying or that you're emoting right now. I don't
well,
trust it.
see, I didn't go to the Good Morning Gorgeous tour. I
I didn't
didn't.
know.
I didn't go because I was like, and I said this. I said when I went to the royalty tour with her and Nas, it was the same set list. And I was tired. I said, Mary, I'm tired. I'm tired of just what's the 411, my life, no more drama, a little bit of everything. And we got to sing I'm Going Down. I'm tired. I'm tired. Like, give me something else. So
Yeah.
I don't know what she's doing. I got to see the set list first.
Yeah.
And then maybe. But I love
Well,
her,
if you get the
but
set
I
list,
don't know.
text it to me when you get it. When you
I
see
sure
it,
will.
share it with me.
Yeah, that's why I had stopped going to marriage. shows. I've been about 5, 6 marriage shows, but I stopped because it was the same show every time. And there's a couple other artists that I did the same for. It's not just her.
It's
The
just
way I
not
was
right.
like,
Right.
the way they ain't try to like mix it up or do no mix it. Like even if they'd kind of change arrangement or did some new number, like it was even that the costuming was being the same, and I was just like, okay, I'm tired.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess I've never put any thought to it, but I mean, I haven't seen Mary in a good couple of years.
it's
And I
been.
guess, I mean, I guess I just don't need to see some. And I mean, I don't blame people for doing the same thing, but I don't need to see it each and every time. So I try
Yeah.
to like space out a couple of years in between. I don't tend to see people like back to back to back to back. I like to let a couple albums come out or something, just let something
Mhm.
just so that there's a new experience because you do get that feeling of just like you're showing up to somebody's job and just watching them do their job.
Right. Right.
Okay, with
That's a,
refreshments and drink.
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. I agree. I agree with that. I totally agree. I agree. So yes, I love searching a gym. Like you said, it's kind of taking the reins to keep your head. And then we get to our love. I this was actually my favorite Mary cover at the time because
How about
I'm not a fan of Sweet Thing and I'm not a fan of I'm Going Down. I've never been, never.
look at me and JR agreeing for the first time in the episode.
Yes, I'm not. I
We
don't
all
like I'm
agreed
going.
on
I'm,
something.
I'm,
I can't remember what it was.
I'm. That's telling that you can't remember. It happened, but it wasn't significant.
I think we agreed on I Can Love You. Yeah. And Share My
And
World,
y'all
we
agreed on
agreed.
keep your head. Hey, keep your head.
Yep,
Keep
Keep
your
Your
head.
Head
No, we
and Share My
agreed.
World, we agreed. And
I
Seven
was
Days.
I was being hyperbolic, sirs.
Yeah, I
would take
loved
it.
it.
I don't have any
loved it.
problems with it. I kind of like
Natalie Cole did.
well, yeah, I mean, well, I love the Natalie Cole version so much. So like that it was
So
one of
much.
those things where
It's
I
hard.
couldn't kind of get into it. I mean, I can't even think of. I'm gonna have to really give a thought to like what was the first Mary cover I ever liked, because I haven't liked any of her covers in those early days. I didn't like Natural Woman. I didn't like
I didn't
I'm
like
Going
that
Down. I
either.
didn't like Sweet Thing. I just was not
Even though
into.
it's
Oh,
so.
you know what? The first Mary cover I like probably is "I'm in Love" on Mary.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh,
That
ooh,
would be the first.
ooh. But
Right.
I love though. And then James and Tume did it. But yes, I wasn't a big fan of Natural Woman either. I was just like,
Well, she
I
gets
just
the
but
lyric wrong in the first line, which always has annoyed me. The line is looking out on the pouring rain. I used to feel so uninspired, because obviously you'd be uninspired when you're looking out at pouring rain. She, for some reason, or whoever changed it, they probably did it in like 5 minutes and weren't really giving it to. She sings it looking out on the pouring rain. I used to feel so inspired, which makes no sense. So that always has irritated me
oh, I never
to
really paid
no
attention
end.
to it.
Yeah, go
James and
back and play it.
Tume, R.I.P. to him. He missed that.
Yeah, no, that's no shade against James and Tume,
Dude, not at all. Not at all.
who I
Not at all.
love.
yeah. But see, it's so
Can't
funny
believe
is
him and Reggie Lucas are gone, right?
Yeah. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
And what's so interesting is, but the songs that Mary covered, with the exception of Sweet Thing, well, no, not the exception. The I'm Going Down and the what was the other one y'all just said? Natural Woman.
Natural
Those
Woman.
are
Yeah.
songs, those are just songs that I just don't really like, period.
Yeah,
So
you said
it's
that. Yeah.
It doesn't make a
yeah.
difference who it's singing.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
so it's a
Natural
little
Woman, I
harder
like
to
the
judge
video
it on the cover tip. Yeah.
on the cover. Yeah, I
Yeah.
would watch the Natural Woman video with the sound off. Like you'd
She
watch
looked
the Everything
pretty.
video with
Yeah,
the
she
sound
looked
off.
really
Yeah,
nice.
She
Yeah, she
did
did.
look she did look great.
Yeah, she looked beautiful in
I
that
can't take
video.
that away.
No, yeah, she did. She
She
did. But
looked amazing.
I was just like, okay, Mary, I'm with it. I was like, I like this and that. So I was good. I was like, all right, I love this cover. Even though now, Sweet Thing, people sing the Mary version. Ain't that crazy?
yeah.
Everybody sings it like that. You know what I mean? And
Well,
Mary
not like
don't
they
even
could sing
sing I'm
like
Going
Shaka if they
Down no
wanted
more.
to. So
Ooh. I mean, well. And then I'm Going Down. Mary just put the mic out to the audience and we sing it. She
yeah,
doesn't. She be like, I'm go. You
but
ain't.
That's the truth
I
though.
got to the it's the truth, but I got to the understanding at some point when I started realizing like why I'm a music lover, but I found so many concert um experiences unfulfilling. And I just got to the acceptance that concerts really aren't for music lovers. Concerts really aren't for true fans. They're for people that want to show up and just have some kind of like group communal experience. And like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
don't want Mary to sing that. They really do want to do the same, where she just holds the mic out, which was like cute the first time she did it, but like in 19 whatever. But it, to me, a real music fan, I want to see somebody like do something adventurous or something creative on stage, but that's really just not what the concert industry is about, I don't think. And so I'm
Right.
kind of bowed out of the
Yeah.
whole
I agree with
situation,
that. I agree with
Yeah.
that.
You only get those, few, once in a generation artists that are really going to give you like a fulfilling, interesting experience every time,
Mm.
I mean, every time
princes
I
and
see
such
Erica, it's
of
like
the
that.
world.
Yeah, every time I see Erica, it's like that. But I
Mm.
haven't seen her that much, so I don't know. Maybe it's different, but and I've seen
No, she
like one
switches
time
it.
she switches it. Okay,
Yeah.
Mm.
I've had different experience at each of the different shows I've been to. And
uh,
and like damn near totally different set lists. Like it might be two or three staples that you'll get in it, and you might not get it the way that you expected, but the rest of it is reworked for sure.
Oh, do y'all remember her COVID shows? Did you all watch her COVID shows when she did those concerts from her house and stuff? That was
Uh-huh.
pretty incredible. I wish those were
That was,
online. Those were pretty
Yeah, I
incredible.
wish it was too, because I loved it. Oh
that was
God, I
so much
loved it.
fun.
Yes, it
So
sure.
much fun.
Yes.
We're all off topic. I'm
Oh
sorry.
no, oh good. No, we know how to revert back.
Did
We
you did you
revert
forget
back.
did you
It's so
forget what show you was on?
right.
It's what we do. It's what we
so
do.
so right. So she ends
That's
the
part of the
album with
fun.
not gonna cry. And I'm like, okay. You know what I'm saying? I was like, all right, I get it. You know what I mean? This is how you're gonna end the album. And I was just like, after my first listen, I was like, oh, I like it. Like I was like, okay, Mary's
Well,
back.
no,
And
the first time you got to hear a dream after Not Gonna Cry, so
yeah,
you were luckier than
you're
everybody
right. You're
else.
absolutely right. I
The
got to
rest
hear
of us
a
had to wait for
dream.
the Money Talk
Yes,
soundtrack.
I heard a dream, and I was like, no, she didn't do the DeBarge show. I was like, simple fantasy that I was like, oh, I was like, Mary. So then when I got the CD, I was like, it's not there. Like, right, right, right. But it was just like, I was like, all right. And for it to sell the way it did, and like you said, Craig, the way they put the backing behind it, MCA was really behind this project and they had a plan. And that's why the singles were what it was. And it just showed that now Mary is a force now. This album made her a force. For it to sell 4 million, it was like, now she's a force. Now it's a Mary J. Blige brand. Now we have a
Yeah,
brand.
exactly. That's what it
Now
is. Now we have a brand.
now we
Yeah,
have a brand. Because before then,
yeah,
it was just they were selling her as the queen of hip hop soul. That's just what her brand was. Now we have a brand because now we have
yeah.
the mainstream on her now. Now we have a bigger audience. She can really go to the UK and do what she need to do. She can go to different countries and start doing all of that. Before it was like she go over to London, come back home. Now
And
she
that didn't
can
go that well.
yeah, at all. But but now she can do that. You know what I'm saying? She can get on stage and do Kiss from a Rose with Seal. Like she can do
Right.
all of this now with this album because now she
Yeah.
has a brand. So that look, shout out to
Yeah.
MCA. They did what they need to do. Shout out to
Yeah.
Hank Shockley and Steve Stout and all of that. They did what they need to do. So
Yeah.
I
And like I told JR over this week and before we started, I really probably still wouldn't change a thing about the execution of the album because it's what she needed to bridge the gap to be able to do the things she did in the future, to be able to make a more artistic album like the Mary album. She had to do this type of album. So I
yes.
wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't change the rollout. I think it served her well. It's not like we got horrible, terrible music. We got really, really great songs that we loved on there. The rest might have been lukewarm, but it was good enough for me not to be like, throw this album in the trash because I don't feel that way
Hmm.
at all.
Right.
It's just
I
Agreed.
not my
think you summed it up.
go-to. It's not
Yeah.
my go-to, but I respect the fuck out of the album, just in a nutshell.
Yeah,
Period.
because I think you really hit it when you said that it allowed her to do Mary, because the thing about it is, and I don't want to shade any other artists, but like there were other artists that took the formula of Share My World and they just kind of kept putting out this kind of commercial R&B product with the same producers and everything like that, the baby faces, the this and that, and they just made album after album with that exact same template. Mary did what she had to do at this particular time in her career, but she used that to, like you said, make something so artistic and warm and organic with Mary. And that's how you know you have an artist more than just sort of just somebody going through the motions of the recording industry, which is fine. People do that. But I guess just a singer or a vocalist. But Mary's more than that. She's an artist because she had the vision and, you know, she could make it through the corporate world without compromising her vision too much. But she was also able to take what she learned from there to even go deeper and be more artistic. And yeah, it's just an incredible career. I feel so blessed to have be able to have watched it in my lifetime, you know, because it's been just a really wonderful and I guess sort of you could think of Share My Word as like a stepping stone, right? It's like what she needed to kind of get her to that next place. And so that's why I've always said I think it's an important album. I think it's important for her career, even though it's not necessarily my favorite album, and it's not an album that I can say that I wholeheartedly love. But
Mhm.
some songs in there I love just as much as any other Mary song that I've ever loved. So it just kind of has that weird feeling.
Right. And
Yeah.
that's why you just explained why Mary is my favorite artist. Period. You just did it in that right there. Woo! Yeah.
Yeah. So, but
Mm.
yeah. So Craig, thank you for coming back to hang out with us. So we didn't scare you away. You do still love us.
Of
Right.
course, always, always,
Cause,
always,
'cause-
always. And I'm so
'cause-
happy
Right.
to
'cause we love you real
chop it up
bad.
with y'all. If the feeling is
Yes.
mutual, the
Yeah,
feeling
we
Yes.
is
love you real
Oh,
mutual.
bad.
that is
Yeah.
awesome.
So in this episode, I will leave the floor open to you if you want to tell anybody about what you're doing or just any message you want to leave the folks with. It's yours.
Yes.
Oh, well, I should have thought about this. No, I just again want to say how much I feel like honored to be a part. I just feel like it's a lot of times when you are, like on a podcast or something like that, early in the trajectory, and you all are like superstars now. So like for you to have me back on and stuff, it's it's an honor. And as far as I guess whenever you post this, I'll put on my Substack the full text of my article that I wrote of the
Please
Share My
do.
World. So
Please.
whenever you all do that, I'll just send it to my subscribers. And the other thing, I don't know if I told you all this um, yet, but I was doing the Nightbirds book, and then I wasn't doing the Nightbirds book for LaBelle. I'm actually doing it again. So
Ooh.
I'm like deep into work on that. And
Ah,
so that's good. It's just one of those projects that just won't leave me alone. So I decided that it was best to just do it. So
that's awesome.
that's it for me.
Ah, that's I can't wait. I can't-
Oh, it's lit.
Oh yes.
I'm
Yes.
excited.
Yes. Yes indeed.
Yes. Well, we thank, Craig, of course, and we thank all of our viewers for sharing their world with us and coming to
Yeah.
see us every 7 days on Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so stupid. And you know what? Love isn't all we need because we need y'all to like. Liking is all we need, sharing is all we need, and subscribing. And tell a friend, tell an enemy, and whoever. Just tell somebody. Share our world with these folks and get them together. But anyway, but we appreciate y'all. And we will catch y'all in 7 days on the next Catch That.